The Double O Hotel had witnessed some wild nights, but this particular one had a vibe unlike the others. Little did the hotel know, one of its guests harbored thoughts of sweet, delicious revenge. Let's rewind 5 years. Daeung Kim was living that happy-go-lucky life back then, all sunshine and rainbows. This girl worked part-time at a bar, saving up those coins for college, telling herself she had to hustle for that brighter future. Ever the caring soul, she couldn't help but notice this one customer looking sadder than a kid who dropped their ice cream cone. Before she could analyze his tragic situation, her boss shut that down real quick. As Daeung closed up shop for the night, there was sad Sak, still nursing his boozy sorrows. Being an absolute angel, she hooked him up with the bar's legendary hangover cure reserved for VIP regulars. Dude literally burst into tears at her kindness. Turns out, his name was Changeob Cho, and his sickly mom had been struggling to raise him solo after his dad kicked the bucket. Daeung, an orphan herself, felt that on a spiritual level. So touched was Changeob that he asked to see her again, and she agreed. From then on, Changeob became a permanent fixture, and they became inseparable. 3 months into their love fest, though, Homie started acting mad shady on one of their dates. While on the phone, his whole demeanor changed when he mentioned his mom was getting a new liver soon. Those lovey-dovey eyes turned ice-cold in a split second. Daeung couldn't wait to tell her good friend all about her new boyfriend Changeob. She just went on, praising him left and right, even mentioning how he paid for some medical tests for her a little while back. You know, that classic girl talk where they gush over every little thing their guy does. Even though they had only been together for 3 months, Changeob had already proposed. Daeung's friend, let's call her Uni, wasn't feeling this rush into marriage at all. But Daeung pulled the "we grew up in the same orphanage, you're like a sister to me" card, so poor Uni had no choice but to reluctantly agree to go to the wedding. It was like that night at the Double O Hotel all over again, so you can bet whatever happened then was happening now too. Pure joy filled the air, with sappy love confessions and wedding thank yous from both of them, even though this lovey-dovey scene was just a memory 5 years later. Everything was perfect that night, the wedding, and the days after, until a doctor visit changed everything. The doctor told them Changeob's mom didn't have much time left unless she got a liver transplant. A huge operation made even harder since finding a matching donor is so tough. Soon after, at Changeob's sick mom's bedside, the family discussed their options. Daeung stayed hopeful they'd find a donor, while her mother-in-law seemed to accept her fate. Sweet Daeung suggested family members were the most likely matches, but her sister-in-law quickly shut that down, worried a transplant scar would ruin her chances of finding a husband. Changeob then mentioned his blood didn't match his mom's, but realized Daeung's did. Cue his mom desperately begging the new daughter-in-law to donate, saying she wanted to meet her grandchild first. But her daughter reminded her that asking Daeung, who just married in, for an organ was way too much. Still, Daeung couldn't stop thinking about it. More talks, then Daeung rushed to get tested, determined to keep her new family together after growing up alone. But as soon as she left, the room went ice cold as an awful truth came out: Daeung was being straight up deceived. To them, she was just a means to an organ for the sick mom. They praised Changeob for fooling such a naive girl as he revealed all the lies he told to make this transplant happen, including those tests Daeung bragged about to Uni. When mom mentioned a Sekyung, their real plan unraveled. Sekyung was the woman Changeob planned to marry after divorcing Daeung, and her baby, not Daeung's, was the supposed grandchild mom used to trick Daeung. They flat out admired how gullible she was, while Changeob got the reminder to update his actual lover Sekyung on their evil progress, assuring her he ditched Daeung after the surgery to marry her as planned. Then Daeung returned, beaming, announcing her compatibility tests were the next day to set a surgery date. Changeob hugged her tight, pretending to be grateful when he already knew the rigged results since he'd secretly tested her match way earlier. Daeung never had a real say, she was just a pawn in Changeob's calculated scheme from the very start. Daeung was just overjoyed. She couldn't wait to tell her Appa the amazing news. She was the perfect match to donate a liver to his mom. Sure, Appa reminded her about the surgery scar, but Daeyoung didn't seem bothered one bit. In fact, she cheekily suggested they get extra cuddly before the transplant. Smooth move, girl. Next up, Daeyoung filled in her dear Uni on the transplant plan while she and her new family eagerly awaited the surgery date for Changeob's mom. Uni thought this whole organ donation thing seemed a bit extreme, but Mrs. Cho felt it was the best way to repay her late husband's family for their kindness. The whole fam was just thrilled mom's life-saving surgery would happen soon. She even promised to recover super fast so she could meet her new grandchild. Ah, poor Daeyoung had no clue about her real role in this. Finally, the big surgery day rolled around. As Daeyoung went under the knife, Changeob's actual lover gave birth to his daughter. Talk about timing. When Daeyoung woke up, the very first thing on her mind was checking on her mother-in-law Baksun. After the nurse gave her a reassuring update, Daeyoung dozed off peacefully, all her worries gone. Soon enough, Changeob was right by her side as the anesthesia wore off. He made sure to tell Daeyoung that Baksun was a-okay, thanking her for basically saving his mom's life. He urged his wifey to rest up and said he'd be back before ducking out to meet his sister waiting outside. Sis was just dying to know about his other lady Sekyung's delivery, and Changeob happily reported his daughter arrived safe and sound. After finishing the Sekyung chat, he once again laid out his master plan to ditch Daeyoung for good once the timing was perfect. His sis straight up applauded his manipulative skills. Poor Daeyoung was just blissfully unaware of the bombshells dropping outside her room. She thought this transplant finally made them a real family, not knowing she was never really part of their family at all. Harsh reality was, Changeob had just been stringing her along for that liver from the very start. It was such a joyous time for the fam. Baksun could barely contain her excitement to finally meet her precious granddaughter. Changeob was over the moon with his baby girl and soon-to-be wifey by his side. Meanwhile, poor Daeyoung laid alone in her hospital bed, totally clueless about her new little stepdaughter and the cruel game they'd all been playing her. But don't worry, Changeob assured Sekyung that as soon as Daeyoung got sprung from the hospital, he'd kick her to the curb and they could finally tie the knot. Daeyoung just lit up when her hubby finally graced her with his presence again. She poured her heart out about how much she missed him and hated being so alone. Changeob played it cool, claiming work had him swamped and distracting her with silly jokes, an idea Daeyoung wasn't totally on board with but went along with anyway, just happy to imagine their bright future together. While she daydreamed, Changeob was busy getting dressed to ditch her again. Once discharged, Daeyoung refused to let her mild surgery pains get her down. She cleaned up, then whipped up a whole dinner feast for her Appa's homecoming. But when he arrived, Changeob reminded his wifey she should be resting, not cooking up a storm. Bless her heart, Daeyoung was troubled over Baksun's ever-delayed discharge date, but her hubby assured her his mom would be just fine. She shyly asked if they should hold off on getting intimate until she fully recovered, and Changeob agreed, heading off to freshen up while Daeyoung happily reheated their lukewarm meal, so grateful her man was being a total sweetheart. Little did she know, as soon as Changeob hit that bedroom, his whole demeanor went ice cold as he decided it was finally time to get rid of her for good. Days passed, and Daeyoung started experiencing disturbing stomach and back pains. She chalked it up to surgery side effects and worried the same thing was happening to Baksun with her slow recovery. One day while tidying up, Daeyoung stumbled across various baby items stashed around the house. She just assumed overeager Baksun had gone grandma crazy prepping for her future grandkid. Daeyoung decided to play dumb about her discovery to avoid ruining the surprise. Break our hearts, we wish we could clue her in that those gifts weren't meant for her baby at all. When Changeob finally returned home with his mom, sweet Daeyoung welcomed them with open arms, excitedly promising to whip up a feast to satisfy their rumbling bellies. But as soon as her back was turned, Changeob's warm facade crumbled as the true villain emerged. Yep, he wanted a divorce. He confessed to seeing another woman, and Baksun actually blamed Daeyoung, claiming she neglected her wifely duties, so Changeob was justified in stepping out. They even offered her a puny alimony settlement. When Daeung understandably freaked, they callously reminded her of every penny they spent on her medical testing, cruelly insinuating they basically bought her organs. Just like that, Daeung was kicked out of her own home. A month later, Changeob made their divorce final, while heartbroken Daeung could only reminisce about their happy times and wonder where things went so wrong. She still viewed them as her family even after her huge sacrifice. Why? Summoning every ounce of courage, Daeung returned to her former home, desperate to see Changeob one last time. But she was met with a harsh reality. She had been completely replaced, as the other woman coldly spelled out how Daeung was merely a disposable tool for Baksun's transplant. Next scene, Daeung gets rocked by some mind-blowing news from Uni. She's 8 weeks pregnant. Her mind raced, trying to pinpoint exactly when that bun could have gotten in her oven. Uni suggested she not keep the baby, considering the terrible memories tied to it and Daeung's struggles to even take care of herself. But Daeung waved off those concerns. She promised to shower this child with endless love and be a kick-ass mom. She vowed to get a job to supplement that puny alimony check and make ends meet. The job hunt felt hopeless until a quaint little flower shop caught her eye. Daeung poured her heart out to the owner about her crappy situation. Turned out, this lady was all about being the change she wanted to see in the cruel world, so she hired the wronged young woman on the spot. Daeung worked her butt off as her belly grew, stealing glances at how carefree and happy the monsters who deceived her lived. When she finally brought her son into the world, Daeung was filled with newfound hope and purpose. As far as she was concerned, the little boy had no father thanks to all the pain his sperm donor caused her. Pain she planned to return tenfold to that whole twisted family. Fast forward to present day, and Changeob's sis Chang Hee-cho was impatiently waiting for her boyfriend to show up for their date already. Turns out, the poor sap stopped at Daeung's flower shop to grab an apology bouquet for running late. It had been 5 long years since that fateful transplant. Daeung's son was healthy and thriving, and her master revenge plan was finally a go. She slipped a sneaky little note into her customer's floral arrangement. Chang Hee assumed it was a romantic gesture from her boo Sungwon, but once he read it, he raced back to the shop to question Daeung and ended up inviting her out for a drink. She gladly accepted, setting the stage to blow up the very family that used her as a disposable organ incubator 5 years prior. This time, Daeung was the predator and they were all her prey. Daeung and Sungwon met up at his picked spot for drinks, and he was shook when she casually addressed him by name. We could sense the chemistry as she laid it on thick about how his kind treatment of Chang Hee caught her eye, playing him like a fiddle. Her choice words and body language were already working their magic, making Sungwon want her despite his girlfriend. Daeung's plan was off to a killer start. See, Sungwon was the man Chang Hee hoped to marry eventually. But apple of Daeung's eye or not, she was hellbent on torpedoing that marine's chance at wedded bliss. One night out and she already had him hooked, just like she schemed. When Chang Hee playfully accused her man of fooling around, he brushed it off as totally false, even though we knew better after witnessing Daeung work her magic. While mall shopping with her son Hanbin, Daeung locked eyes on her next target, the so-called perfect wife Sekyung herself. Making us wonder, just what juicy dirt could Daeung possibly have on the lady who stole her life? From the outside, Sekyung looked like the total package, the perfect mom with a loving husband, plenty of money, an adorable daughter, and just radiating devotion to her charmed life. But peek behind the curtain and yikes, her swimming lessons with her ripped instructor often ventured way off course to some secluded, extracurricular activities, if you know what I mean. Speaking of Sekyung's swimsuit-clad boy toy, he had a literal run-in with our girl Daeung at the pool. Dude accidentally bumped into her, causing a total wipeout. But Daeung was totally faking that twisted ankle, all part of her master scheme to worm her way into the instructor's orbit. He fell for it hook, line and sinker, rushing her off for a precautionary hospital check before escorting her back to the flower shop. As a thanks, Daeung gifted him a lil plant baby, bidding him farewell. As he pulled away to meet up with Sekyung, the instructor couldn't help but vibe with Daeyoung's chill demeanor. Little did he know, she watched him drive off with cold, dead eyes, clearly taking manipulation cues from the best. Sekyung's poolside dalliances definitely made you question her feelings for her husband Changeob and their whole family setup. But she played the doting mommy and wifey role perfectly. Gotta wonder how long she could keep up that act, though. Even after his steamy romps with Sekyung, her instructor Boo Young-soo still made time to pop up unannounced at Daeyoung's flower shop late one night, much to her faux surprise, all part of the plan. Then someone randomly rolled through too, leaving both dudes questioning what the other was to Daeyoung. They were both obviously crushing, but only Young-soo made a move, until Daeyoung announced she had plans, leaving them stunned. After stocking up on a bouquet for no reason, someone skulked off while Young-soo beat a hasty retreat too. Daeyoung rushed to close up so she could spend time with her son Hanbin before he knocked out at her boss's place. Meanwhile, poor Chang-hee was straight up oblivious that Daeyoung had already sunk her claws into her future hubby, bragging to her mom about how Sungwon only had eyes for her. Mom not so gently reminded her to lock it down before he strayed too late, the wandering eye had landed right on Daeyoung. There he was again, Young-soo popping up unannounced at Miss Min's shop, wondering why Daeyoung was a no-show at the pool and trying his darndest to score a date. He was oozing smooth as he poured on the charm. Daeyoung played right along, amping up the flirty banter until she called him a cool guy always surrounded by ladies. He took that as a sign she'd been scoping him out, which she coyly confirmed. When Young-soo ordered up a bouquet for someone not his girlfriend, the shop girls both agreed this flirty fitness bro was an easy mark. Sure enough, when Young-soo swung by Sekyung's with those flowers, she gratefully accepted her side boo's usual romantic gesture, taking them inside like everything was normal. Hanbin's obsession with Dinos was just too pure. Daeyoung indulged her son's headbutting Dino dreams with all the themed toys, clothes, you name it. On this particular day, a Dino lollipop had Hanbin zooming around so fast, he accidentally crashed right into a stranger. After making sure the little guy was A-okay, the kind stranger noticed Hanbin's prized sucker met its untimely demise. But 2 replacement lollies instantly made this dude Hanbin's newest bestie and gave Daeyoung a rare, genuine smile. For just that moment, she was truly happy. The kind stranger who saved little Hanbin's lollipop life finally introduced himself as Dae Hoon-yu, the owner of the building housing Miss Min's flower shop. Turned out he spotted Daeyoung working there during one of his property check-ins. She gave him and Hanbin her name, and even the little guy piped up with a hello. Dae-hoon assumed she was married, but Daeyoung set him straight, just a single mom doing her thing. He promised to swing by the shop soon, even pledging to bring Hanbin another Dino lollipop. Meanwhile, Chang-hee was on a date with her boyfriend Sungwon, but homeboy's mind was wandering to his new lady love, who wasn't even there. He kept zoning out thinking about her, refusing Chang-hee's requests for a lil hotel staycation by making every excuse in the book. Poor Chang-hee was oblivious to his fading interest, just bummed he shot down her idea for wine and quality time. Later that night, Daeyoung was about to lock up the shop and grab Hanbin from her boss's place when who should show up but Sungwon, admitting he couldn't stop thinking about her. After she playfully ribbed him about flowers for his lady, he suggested they go somewhere quieter, just them, alone. Ooh la la. This was all part of Daeyoung's master plan. She even stashed a sexy outfit at the shop just for such an occasion. She quickly okayed Hanbin's sleepover with Miss Min and reassured her boss she had some business to handle first. So instead of hotel wine with Chang-hee, Sungwon shared a bottle with Daeyoung overlooking the most romantic city view. She laid the flirty charm on thick, coyly asking what they should do now that they were all alone in this room. Her suggestive question had Sungwon gulping nervously, already feeling flustered. He tried to play it cool by refilling his wine, but Daeyoung wasn't letting up, reminding him this was the meetup spot he picked for them. She had him just where she wanted. Finally working up some courage, Sungwon asked about that other guy Young-soo who hit on her at the shop. He straight up thought they were an item. Daeyoung explained Young-soo was just a rando fitness instructor she met, giving Sungwon some relief. But then she turned the tables, asking if Young-soo's advance bothered him. Sungwon admitted it kinda did. Whoops. Daeyoung seized the moment, leaning in close enough for their lips to almost touch as she confessed her feelings for him. She let him know in no uncertain terms she wanted him all to herself, no sharing with other women. His lips parted but no words came out as her daring declaration left him stunned. For now, she was content letting their secret fling continue while he stayed with Chang-hee, reveling in the thrill of danger. Sungwon's heart was pounding despite his silence as Daeyoung's bold words sunk in. Next morning, Daeyoung reported for work bright and early, shocking her boss Miss Min. After some Hanbin catch-up, it was back to business as usual. That is, until Young-soo called in an order a bouquet delivery to the cafe next door, just so he could schmooze Daeyoung over coffee. She happily obliged, thanking him for an excuse to take a break. Their cafe date was all laughs and flirty banter, but when their time was up, Young-soo was clearly bummed to see Daeyoung rush off. She booked it back to the shop, accidentally bumping into some fine-looking older gentleman along the way. Whoa, this dude was too handsome to be a random extra. Young-soo wasted no time handing off those flowers to his side chick, none other than Changeob's wife Sekyung. But the whole time, he was imagining what could have been with Daeyoung instead. And just like that, the vicious cycle repeated as Sekyung brought the bouquet home. Her husband questioned the flowers again, but eventually agreed they made a nice touch. With baby Jane in his arms and Sekyung by his side, the fam looked picturesque on the outside. But we all saw the cracks. It was only a matter of time before the whole facade crumbled. Next scene opened on Daeyoung sprucing up the shop's exterior when that same dapper old man from earlier reappeared, giving her a polite nod hello. But then boom! Dude suddenly collapsed, struggling to breathe in the throes of a heart attack. A concerned crowd murmured from a distance as Daeyoung leapt into action, desperately trying to revive him. When he finally woke up at the hospital, the first thing he learned was how this young florist saved his life. Just like that, Daeyoung had a new player 3 enter the game. Hanbin's Dino obsession struck again as he accidentally bumped into his very own grandma Baksoon, who had zero clue who this little munchkin was. She reacted with straight-up disgust until Daeyoung rushed to defend her son. Even after that liver donation, Baksoon treated Daeyoung like a piece of trash, storming off all high and mighty. As Daeyoung comforted her heartbroken son who witnessed Baksoon's cruel words, her thirst for revenge against that whole wretched family only grew stronger. Baksoon just got added to the list. After praising Daeyoung's outstanding employee performance, Miss Min suggested a coffee break. As the ladies chatted, who should appear but the man whose life Daeyoung saved, thanking her profusely. Poor Miss Min was so lost trying to follow their cryptic convo. Over their coffee clatch with a new third wheel named Manhyuk, Daeyoung filled her boss in on the juicy deets about her recent life-saving heroics. Manhyuk, still reeling from his brush with death, was eager to repay his debt to Daeyoung by any means necessary. She coyly asked if it was okay to ask him to completely deceive and crush someone on her behalf. His response? After being pulled from the grave, he was down for whatever payback scheme his savior had cooked up. Before laying out her grand favor, Daeyoung regaled Manhyuk with the twisted saga from 5 years prior that set this whole revenge plot in motion. Manhyuk was straight up livid after hearing Daeyoung's messed up story. He was 100% down to help her get revenge on those scumbags, ready to play whatever role she needed. Miss Min stayed ominously quiet, but the vibe was clear. She had Daeyoung's back as she assigned Manhyuk his mission: seduce Baksoon until that old bat couldn't live without him. Drama seemed to follow Daeyoung everywhere she went. As she prepped to grab Hanbin from Miss Min's, there was Young-soo asking her out for drinks. She started making up an excuse when Daehoon, the building owner, appeared out of nowhere. Daeyoung seized the moment, claiming she had plans with him instead, leaving Young-soo no choice but to sulk off. Daehoon tagged along to get Hanbin, using the Dino lollipop he snagged for the little guy as his cover. He even escorted them all the way home, doling out security tips before disappearing into the night. A sly smile crept across Daeyoung's face. Could she be developing a lil crush on Daehoon? Bright and early the next morning, Man-hyuk made his move on Baksoon, pretending she was a dead ringer for his ex-wife. He hit her with cheesy flirty lines until the old girl turned beet red and flustered. By the end of their encounter, Man-hyuk slipped Baksoon his biz card, hoping she'd call him for a real date. As she shyly scurried off, her heart was already pitter-pattering over this supposed stranger. Man-hyuk couldn't believe how easy this mission was, quickly updating Daeyoung on his progress so far. Speaking of Daeyoung, right after debriefing her secret weapon Man-hyuk, who should stroll in but Daehoon, toting coffee for the ladies and, of course, a lollipop for Hanbin at kindergarten. Their exchange was brief but his presence lingered after he left. Miss Min even shared her 2 cents, gushing over what a catch the handsome young building owner seemed to be, trying to feel out if there was anything romantic brewing between him and her employee. Daeyoung shut that down quick. It wasn't like that, yet. On the outside, Daeyoung might have seemed over her twisted ex and his poisonous family. But night after night, they still tormented her sleep with harrowing nightmares about their deception. The dark memories didn't slow her down, though, if anything, they fueled her fire to dismantle their lives piece by piece. Another new day, another early bird customer. Daeyoung had just unlocked the shop bright and early when someone came strolling in. She playfully teased him about needing to buy his girlfriend flowers at this hour, but he clapped back that they weren't for her. Instead, he wanted Daeyoung's personal favorite lobelias, duh. She messed with his head a bit before hooking him up with the symbolic blooms. Then someone went and asked her out on another secret date, to which Daeyoung happily agreed. As soon as he left, she didn't even need to ask Miss Min to watch Hanbin. The boss was already 1 step ahead and approved. Talk about making her allegiance crystal clear. Fast forward to Chang-hee dropping in on her man at work. When she spotted that conspicuous bouquet, she just assumed it was for her and got all green-eyed jealous upon learning otherwise. Trying to leave her scent all over him, she planted a big ol' kiss on someone's neck, hoping to mark her territory for this mystery lady. Only served to make someone even more of a nervous wreck. That night at their swanky hotel rendezvous spot, someone presented Daeyoung with the lobelia bouquet she arranged earlier. He apologized profusely, admitting he could never get flowers anywhere else since Daeyoung's were simply the best. She gratefully accepted, right before pointing out the glaring lip mark on his neck, playfully asking if it was from his girlfriend. Poor guy could barely get any words out, stammering and stumbling over his excuses while Daeyoung decided to take their secret relationship up a notch. Sensing his nerves, Daeyoung tried to calm someone down, pulling him closer to leave her own intimate mark on his chest. After a lil teasing back and forth, they agreed the mood was perfect for taking things to the next level on their upcoming date night. Next morning, Miss Min gave Daeyoung a ring to let her know Hanbin was off to kindergarten safe and sound. After thanking her boss, Daeyoung got the okay to come in late, saying she had some personal business to handle first. That free time was quickly booked. She rang up Young-soo to set a date at the gym, telling him she'd be swinging his way. Once their secret workout sesh was locked in, Young-soo called up his side chick Sekyung to cancel yet another one of their dates, feigning a little illness as his excuse. His plan was to get flirty with Daeyoung during their tryst, but little did he know she was the one pulling the strings. She played the role of clueless bystander during their private lesson, acting like his overt advances were no big deal to really mess with his head. The whole lunch after their steamy pool sesh, Young-soo couldn't stop wondering, did Daeyoung totally not notice his wandering hands all over her, or was she just playing dumb? When she innocently requested another private swim lesson, he concluded she must have clocked his moves but chose to stay quiet about it. As Daeyoung apologized for having to jet early, she slyly mentioned scoring special permission just to spend time with him, laying that flirty bait thick. He walked her back to the shop, both exchanging friendly goodbyes, but Young-soo was so riled up from their encounter that he immediately rang up Sekyung to set another hookup ASAP. Understanding as always, Miss Min had zero issues letting Daeyoung peace out early with Hanbin once the little guy got back from kindergarten. As they debated if she should take the whole day, who should stroll in but Daehoon himself. Hanbin's face lit up, shouting "Dino Lollipop Man" at the top of his lungs until Daeyoung playfully shushed him. Didn't stop Daehoon from gifting the delighted kid yet another prehistoric sucker, though. After thanking him for always thinking of Hanbin, Daehoon admitted he hoped to get closer to the little guy. Turns out his mission that day was grabbing a plant to congratulate the owner of a new cafe in a building he managed. Once the flower details were squared away, Daehoon surprised Daeyoung by asking if he could give her his number, hoping she'd give him a call sometime. She was speechless as he handed over his digits, barely mustering a flustered goodbye before he strolled out with that charming smile. Daehoon just had a way of brightening any room he entered, even long after he left. Miss Min and Daeyoung were shook, the florist still clutching that premium phone number long after their encounter. Miss Min could sense it was high time for her girl to find some happiness with a stand-up guy like Daehoon. Daeyoung admitted he seemed like a real catch, but lamented her revenge mission left zero room for romance right now. A call from someone rudely interrupted their girl talk, only reinforcing Daeyoung's point. As worried as she was about her employees' well-being, Miss Min gave Daeyoung the go-ahead to do whatever she needed that night, promising to watch over Hanbin, who was surprisingly chill with its sleepover at Grandma's. We all know what goes down whenever the Global International Hotel gets name-dropped, another clandestine date night for Sungwon and Daeyoung. This time, she questioned why they always had to sneak around hotels, asking if he had any other scandalous location ideas and daring him to be honest about what he really wanted. His body's reaction said it all, even if someone couldn't articulate it. Daeyoung slyly led him to the bed, teasing him mercilessly about what their steamy alone time could entail until the poor guy was blushing madly. As much as she clearly wanted him, Daeyoung ultimately concluded her all-consuming revenge mission left no room for personal indulgences like happiness. Not now, at least. The first sight greeting Daeyoung's eyes the next morning? Daehoon's crispy new phone number, just waiting on her nightstand. She stared at those digits for a while, pondering her next move, before stuffing them in a drawer and starting her day. Sungwon kicked off his own morning in bed with Chang Hee, but his mind was literally anywhere else, consumed with thoughts of Daeyoung. His behavior was so obvious, Chang Hee couldn't help but giddily call out his distraction during their vacation day romp. When she noticed that suspicious red mark on his chest, Sungwon managed to deflect by claiming it was just a random scratch. Chang Hee bought the excuse, even mischievously adding her own hickey to the collection. The endless cycle of scheming and double-crossing was clearly weighing on Daeyoung, causing her to zone out at work until Miss Min had to compassionately check in. Daeyoung brushed it off as no biggie, but her boss couldn't help noticing that conspicuous plant on the counter and asking if it was from Daehoon. Daeyoung confirmed, and just minutes into their chat, speak of the devil, Daehoon arrived to grab his order. He gushed over her choice, promising to keep soliciting her professional opinion going forward. Miss Min's concerns resurfaced the second he left, positive this kind-hearted fella could be Daeyoung's ticket to happiness if she let him. Elsewhere, Man-hyuk's role in the grand revenge plot was sailing along smoothly. After roping back Soon into a flirty golf outing, the sly dog scored them coffee together after easily charming his way further into her heart. Dude was a natural at this seduction game. Daeyoung's spaciness just wouldn't quit, so Miss Min finally spoke up. She figured all the stress must be getting to her girl, but Daeyoung admitted her mind was simply overloaded lately. Miss Min wondered if a certain new guy in the picture was the distraction. Yep, she meant Daehoon. She low-key advised Daeyoung to prioritize herself and Hanbin for once and maybe explore things with the handsome building owner. As tempting as that sounded, Daeyoung brushed it off, saying the timing still wasn't right even though she definitely wanted to. Of course, their heart-to-heart convo got rudely interrupted by the shop phone ringing for an order. Duty's called. The night drifted by quiet and uneventful before blooming into a fresh new day. First up, Daeyoung had a major flower delivery for a customer who ordered the previous day at some huge fancy corporate office building. The whole place just reeked of Changeob vibes, but her transaction with the client started off smooth, until he introduced his business partner, the infamous Mr. Cho himself, Daeyoung's snake ex-husband in the flesh. The second they were alone, Changeob dropped his polite facade and reverted to that cold, cruel persona Daeyoung knew all too well. He started viciously bragging about deceiving her, showing absolutely zero remorse as he pelted her with vicious accusations left and right until Daeyoung felt suffocated. She had to bolt just to catch her breath, but the ugly confrontation just reignited her burning desire for revenge tenfold. Didn't take long for her to fire off a message to Young-soo, setting up a rendezvous. She definitely hadn't forgotten about destroying his world too. When Daeyoung returned to the shop after that hellish delivery, she kept her lips zipped about her Changeob run-in, only asking the ever-reliable Miss Min to watch Hanbin that night as usual. The boss agreed without question, per the norm. Daeyoung met up with Young-soo at his go-to drinking spot, and honestly, who knows if she was genuinely enjoying herself or just playing another masterful round of mind games. But she laid it on thick regardless, cracking jokes about how the handsome fitness stud must be ultra-popular with the ladies at his gym while pretending to be so interested in his life story. Young-soo lapped up every last drop of her faux flattery hook, line and sinker. As the night rolled along, her sudden "I'm so tipsy" act was blatantly stone-cold sober, but all part of Daeyoung's grand scheme. She feigned drunk stumbles until one accidental tumble landed Young-soo's hand straight on her chest. He immediately started apologizing profusely until Daeyoung cut him off, snapping that he already copped a feel during their private swimming trysts, so what was the big deal? She taunted him over whether he truly was some innocent young thing or just playing coy. Daeyoung's wild shift in demeanor had Young-soo basically salivating at the possibilities of where this night could lead. Still fuming from her blowout with Changeob earlier, Daeyoung ended up seducing Young-soo way sooner than planned, only to abruptly pump the brakes once his raunchy advances reminded her of her vile ex's manipulative games all over again. She hurried home, desperate for a hot shower to wash off the whole sordid situation, silently battling waves of anger and self-loathing. She hated that Changeob still maintained such psychological control over her actions and emotions to this day. When would she finally break free? Meanwhile, Manhyuk's mission to seduce Baksun was smoother than a fresh jar of Skippy. The old girl practically gifted him the perfect, and during one fateful park stroll, she went and clumsily spilled her entire drink down his pant leg, insisting they retreat to her place so she could toss his pants in the wash. What fortuitous timing! Once at Baksun's home, as she loaded the washing machine, Manhyuk poured on that signature charm by suggesting her inviting him into her personal sanctuary was akin to opening her heart to him. The line literally stunned Baksun into speechlessness until she recovered enough to announce she needed to brew some coffee, stat. As the flustered woman strained to reach a mug from the top shelf, Manhyuk sidled up real close for an assist, leaving them practically chest to chest until her face burned crimson. She scolded him to back off and have a seat, but little did Baksun know, his seductive hooks were already set too deep. Daeyoung was locking up solo at the flower shop when a mysterious figure suddenly called out to her from the shadows. She tensed, clutching her keys. Who could it be? Well, if it wasn't Mr. Tall, Dark and Handsome himself, Dae-hoon-yu. Daeyoung was shook to see the dashing building owner loitering outside her shop so late. Turns out, he'd been waiting around hoping to catch her, saying he needed to discuss something. But first, he confirmed little Hanbin was safe and sound over at Miss Min's for the night. Although Daeyoung tried to protest, Dae-hoon insisted they go scoop up the kiddo together. On their stroll to retrieve Hanbin, Dae-hoon casually asked about Daeyoung's typical daily routine. She finally seized the opening to let him down easy, claiming she was just a lost cause burdened by metaphorical chains and baggage. But his response? Probably could have seen it coming from a mile away. He'd wait however long it took for her to open up, if she was okay with that is. Sure enough, when they arrived, the precious Dino Lollipop Man had a fresh prehistoric sucker ready to delight Hanbin. Dae-young couldn't help observing how Dae-hoon, Miss Min and her son almost resembled the perfect little family she always dreamed of having. As much as she ached to finally experience that warmth and happiness, she knew she couldn't quit her revenge mission before it even started. Although, she allowed herself to bask in the tender moment, if only for a little while. With the rise of a fresh new day, an amused Chang-hee was totally ragging on her mama Baksun for her recent strange behavior, blaming it on her weird old man fling. But the old broad wasn't taking that disrespect lying down. She went full interrogation mode on her daughter about this mystery man she assumed Chang-hee was marrying soon, insisting it was high time he wifed her up already. Chang-hee simply brushed it off, vowing to set her delusional mother straight after work. Little did Bae know the man she wanted to lock down was already head over heels for a certain floral femme fatale. Sungwon hit up Dae-young to schedule another rendezvous, and she just knew her secret lover's intentions. He was gunning to take her to bed. She seriously weighed the pros and cons of finally consummating their torrid affair, when an image of Dae-hoon flashed through her mind. Dae-young instantly shook off the distraction, recentering on her grand revenge mission. This was no time to waver, not when her son's future was at stake. Back at the flower shop, Dae-young enlisted Miss Min to watch Hanbin for a spell, and the boss was happy to oblige. That's when Man-hyuk rolled through, picking up a bouquet for his latest target Baksun, of course. He confirmed things were still progressing smoothly on that front, but expressed reservations that his floral offering was almost too beautiful for the vile old woman. After thanking Dae-young, he took off, leaving Miss Min to chime in that their schemes seemed to be going perfectly according to plan. Dae-young agreed going after the liver donor herself would surely cripple that whole wretched family. Meanwhile, Sekyung was throwing a massive tantrum after asking her monster-in-law Baksun to babysit little Jane, only for that crusty crab to refuse, claiming she already had mysterious plans. When Sekyung dare questioned her new busyness, Baksun just berated her with insults. The good daughter-in-law played it cool in the moment, but as soon as she hung up, she started venting to Young-soo about that old fogey ruining their hookup plans. Her side boo tried to salvage the situation, suggesting they simply sneak away for a quickie at the gym since he'd be running things. Young-soo lamented Sekyung's total uptightness, wondering if his other lady Dae-young would be so fussy about stealing private moments together. After clocking out for the day, Sungwon came scooping Dae-young up for another secret meetup at their usual spot. She instantly sensed something was off about her lover. That's when Sungwon caved and confessed he had slept with his girlfriend earlier, but spent the whole time fantasizing about Dae-young instead. She quickly capitalized on his weakened state, leading her puppet-like paramour straight to the bedroom. Sungwon was adorably shy, so Dae-young did her best to set the mood, lulling him into a false sense of comfort and security. When she finally uttered the words he longed to hear, that she wanted him all to herself, Sungwon was powerless to resist, entirely under her intoxicating spell. Dae-young totally plays with Sungwon's emotions, making him think he is finally gonna get a taste before snatching that possibility away. She reminds him loud and clear he isn't her man, not yet. As far as she is concerned, his supposed future wife Chang-hee can wave goodbye to those marriage plans, because Sungwon is already caught up in Dae-young's web. At work, Dae-young apologizes to Miss Min for any awkwardness caused by her secret rendezvous, but the boss brushes it off. She makes it crystal clear that looking after the delightful Hanbin is never an issue. Miss Min can see her girl is going through it, silently encouraging Dae-young to hang in there. Elsewhere, Man-hyuk's golf lessons with Baksun continue full swing. He compliments her improving skills, to which she credits his excellent teaching. When she invites him to lunch, he politely declines, claiming he has other students to juggle plus logistical prep to raise funds for opening his own screen golf center. Man-hyuk casually mentions potentially spending less time with Baksun soon. She takes the bait, asking how much money he needs to make his business dream a reality, vowing to let him know the very next day if she can help. That very night, Baksun enlists her son Changeob to secure the cash Man-hyuk requires. Despite his reluctance, he agrees, then immediately tries calling Sekyung to gossip about his mom's strange new behavior. Why isn't she picking up? Oh, because she is in the midst of a steamy parking lot romp with her side piece Young-soo. The more we see of Sekyung, the more her perfect wife and mother facade crumbles. This time, she is straight up hooking up with Young-soo in his car without a care that her daughter could arrive home from school any minute. It shows exactly where this woman's priorities truly are definitely not on poor little Jane. Daeyoung's motherly priorities, however, remain laser-focused on showering Hanbin with unconditional love even throughout her vengeance quest. After the little guy recaps his entire day for his always listening mom, who should arrive but Mr. Dino Lollipop himself, Daehoon, toting coffee for the ladies and, of course, a fresh prehistoric sucker for Hanbin. The sweet boy loudly wishes his new dinosaur lollipop man would come by every single day, earning a playful scolding from Daeyoung about his manners. Not that Daehoon cares, he is perfectly content as Hanbin begs him not to go. Daehoon is slowly but surely becoming a steady, positive presence in their lives, yet Daeyoung continues pushing him away, believing this good-hearted man is too pure for her perceived darkness. Baksun, meanwhile, has plummeted hook, line and sinker into Manhyuk's masterful trap. She straight up hands him a check for 1 billion won to help achieve his screen golf dreams. He plays perfectly coy, expressing immense gratitude for such generous investment, right before shamelessly propositioning the old woman in the heat of passion, leaving her absolutely gobsmacked. At this point, it is easy to forget Baksun was the vile matriarch who destroyed Daeyoung's life, and that Manhyuk is merely a double agent in her intricate revenge scheme. He deftly convinces Baksun that they are not too old for life's carnal pleasures, taking her by the hand and leading her off to consummate their new relationship, if you could call it that. Changeob eventually gets Sekyung on the phone, wasting no time grilling her about their increasingly eccentric mother's recent antics. She happily dishes on Baksun's refusal to babysit Jane, a duty she normally jumps at. Sekyung plants suspicions about Baksun's strange busyness, which gives Changeob pause, but only briefly. After all, in his troubled mind, his mother is simply too old and bitter to possibly be chasing after a new man, right? Wrong. In reality, Mama Baksun has become the latest pawn in Daeyoung's intricately woven web of vengeance against Changeob and everything he holds dear. In the next scene, Daeyoung is racing to lock up the flower shop, dead set on scooping up her son Hanbin from Miss Min's place pronto. That little guy flat out refuses to hit the hay without his mama. Just as she's scrambling out the door, who should pop up unannounced but someone. Daeyoung hits him with a harsh truth bomb. She's already got plans to see another dude, essentially dumping someone on the spot. The writing's on the wall for homeboy, it's decision-making time. Back at home, Daeyoung soaks up precious cutie with her pride and joy Hanbin, secure in the knowledge that she's knocked down a major pillar in her revenge master plan by snatching Changhee's man. The next fateful meetup with his now ex rolls around, but Changhee's non-stop yapping about her fabulous life is met with stony silence from Sungwon. When she finally broaches the topic of introducing their families for marriage discussions, he drops a brutal bombshell breakup. It's just a matter of the heart, and his is utterly consumed by Daeyoung. 1 target down, 3 to go. Not long after, Manhyuk rolls through the flower shop to grab a bouquet, right on the heels of Baksun prepping for one of her shady outings. He fills Daeyoung in on his runaway success seducing the old bat, confirming she's hopelessly addicted to his very presence. He even boasts about using her money to open that swanky new screen golf center he's been angling for, a brutal two birds one stone scenario, with both Daeyoung and Manhyuk well aware of the cash's shady origins. Out of gratitude for her orchestrating this whole twisted scheme that gave him a second lease on life, Manhyuk insists on gifting Daeyoung the entire business's profits. She's not interested in money, but bringing up Hanbin's name gives her pause to consider it. Manhyuk vows to stay in touch before hustling off. Elsewhere, Sungwon is calling up Daeyoung to set a secret rendezvous and gush about finally ending things with Changhee for good so they can be together. She plays it cool, masking her elation while agreeing to meet him at their usual haunt. Just then, Hanbin comes barreling into the shop, Miss Min in tow. After catching up on his daily hijinks, Daeyoung recruits the bestie boss to watch over her son for the night, an easy agreement since the little guy is always down to sleep over at grandma's. Returning home from what we can only assume was a magical day, Baksoon's joy comes crashing down upon discovering her own daughter crumpled on the floor in an utter devastation. When she shakily inquires about the cause of such distress, between sobs the heart-shredded truth comes pouring out: someone dumped her. Baksoon immediately kicks into nurturing mom mode, trying in vain to console her inconsolable little girl. This won't be easy. Now that someone has made his bold choice, Daeyoung's still skeptical he actually went through with cutting Chang-hee loose. His confidence wavers for a split second, that is until opportunity comes calling with a ring from his supposed ex. He's quick to put Chang-hee on speaker, and their terse convo leaves zero doubts that their romance is capital D done. This time, Daeyoung can't stifle her laughter of pure satisfaction, earning an earful of venom from Chang-hee, now keenly aware that Sungwon has not only replaced her, but is madly infatuated with this mysterious woman. To celebrate his bold gambit, Daeyoung plans to reward her newly minted man in the most intimate way, that is, until intrusive thoughts of Daehoon start flooding her mind, forcing her to pump the brakes. Sungwon's left bewildered, but accommodating when she insists on postponing their planned tryst. Meanwhile, Chang-hee is straight raging, easily recognizing the voice of the woman who snatched away her man. She tearfully laments doing nothing to deserve this crushing blow as the bitter sobs continue to rack her body. The dark deeds Daeyoung has orchestrated to achieve her vengeful goals are beginning to weigh heavy on her conscience, even pervading her dreams. For some reason, she's terrified that the ever-pure Daehoon will judge her monstrous actions, unable to consummate her relationship with someone the previous night as visions of the upstanding building owner flooded her mind. She desperately tries shaking him from her thoughts. She can't afford to hesitate or indulge in normal happiness until her bloody vengeance is complete, until she takes down every last one of them. One major mark scratched off her list, and it's looking like Young-soo may be next to feel her wrath after he schedules yet another secret liaison. During his illicit backseat romp with Sekyung, Young-soo loses complete track of time, abruptly having to cut their heated session short so he can hustle off to his date with Daeyoung. His jilted sidepiece gets all green-eyed monster over his obvious urgency to be elsewhere until he soothes her jealousy with some smooth talk about another beautiful woman at the gym, a brutal bit of misdirection since Daeyoung wasn't even there at that moment. Back at the flower shop, Daeyoung is zoning out harder than ever, Miss Min's concerns growing by the day, though the caring boss isn't vocalizing her worries this time around, just silently hoping her girl finds a way through these cloudy struggles. A bouquet delivery summons Daeyoung away from the shop, and we'd all be lying if we said we weren't expecting that dreamy order to be from none other than Young-soo himself. Their clandestine meetup is brief but ends with Daeyoung agreeing to see her fitness beau again very soon. Sure enough, she immediately hits up her most trusted babysitter Miss Min, who's happy as always to lend a hand watching over Hanbin while his mom handles her oh-so-secretive business. Daeyoung's date with Young-soo seems to go swimmingly at first, the crafty vixen laying it on thick and fully intent on making this hunky personal trainer her next conquest. Over a cozy dinner, she masterfully sets the mood, only to get cold feet at the pivotal moment of passion, haunted by the looming shadow of her remorseful nightmares. Despite having this stud eating out of the palm of her hand, she abruptly calls it a night, leaving Young-soo equal parts confused and assuming she's just stringing him along with coy hard-to-get games. In reality, Daeyoung's guilty conscience is strangling her, feeling like pursuing this dalliance is the ultimate betrayal of sweet, compassionate Daehoon and the high moral pedestal she's placed him on. Her turbulent emotions reach a boiling point, prompting Daeyoung to fire off an unexpected late-night summons for Daehoon to come see her ASAP. She needs this man's intimate comfort, plain and simple. Despite sensing major turmoil in her urgent request, after confirming Hanbin is safe and sound with Miss Min, Daehoon doesn't hesitate to answer the call, racing over in a heartbeat. Once inside her apartment, Daeyoung invites him to sit and talk, but the words just won't come. He can clearly read the harrowing struggle painted across her expression, and doesn't even wait for her to speak before pulling the distraught woman into a warm, reassuring embrace. But that small act of kindness is a dam break. All of Daeyoung's pent-up anguish comes flooding out in the tender request, "Sleep with me." Daehoon hesitates, needing answers before indulging her in such a vulnerable act. What on earth is going on with her? Daeyoung comes clean to Daehoon about her burning need for payback, admitting she has to get her hands dirty to achieve her goals. To her, if he can bear to be intimate with her despite her misdeeds, it'll give her the strength to keep going until she gets her ultimate revenge. Daehoon is shook that physical intimacy is the only way he can support her right now, but asks Daeyoung to promise she'll come to him after it's all over. He's ready to accept her, no judgment, no matter what she had to do. With that reassurance, he gives in to her desires. Later, as he drops her off at work, Daehoon reinforces his unconditional support. It's crystal clear to Daeyoung now she has to end this quickly. With Chang-hee taken down and Baksun dancing to her tune, only Sekyung remains. Man-hyuk is the Swiss Army knife in Daeyoung's revenge plot, flawlessly embedded in Changeob's finances through Baksun, exactly the inside man she needs. Emboldened by Daehoon's empowering words, Daeyoung is an unstoppable force. She owns Sungwon, mind, body and soul during their next rendezvous, leaving him with zero lingering interest in his humiliated ex Chang-hee. When she desperately demands answers for their brutal split, he gives her the cold shoulder. But this callous Chang-hee won't back down so easily. She wants vengeance, and maybe even her man back if she can help it. Hours into a productive workday, Miss Min and Daeyoung agree it's coffee break time when in walks none other than Daehoon. Miss Min invites him to join their caffeine clutch, but he politely declines, saying he can't stay long. He's relieved to have caught them at the perfect time, passing the ladies their daily pick-me-up before giving Daeyoung a subtle once-over, wishing her well, and heading off about his day. Young-soo takes Sekyung on that fancy date he promised, providing a sympathetic ear as she vents all her frustrations over her monster-in-law Baksun's recent suspicious busyness and absence. It's clear she misses quality time with her side boo, desperate for more intimate encounters in proper locales, making Young-soo increasingly uncomfortable despite his chill facade. Today, however, things take a shocking turn when Chang-hee spots the illicit couple and snaps incriminating photos of the rendezvous behind Sekyung's back. Once home, Chang-hee gears up to rat her out to Baksun, until a last-minute change of heart leaves the old bat baffled. Not long after, Baksun hits up Changeob for more cash, which he begrudgingly agrees to fork over, immediately putting Man-hyuk on notice that more funds are inbound. Changeob gives his wife Sekyung a heads-up about Baksun's endless money requests, which only reinforces her suspicions that the old lady is being played. She urges her husband to keep close tabs. With Chang-hee's newfound knowledge of Sekyung's affair coupled with Baksun's shady dealings, it's looking like Jane's salad days of a nuclear family unit are numbered. Her mom Sekyung is the next domino to fall in Daeyoung's intricate revenge plot, and given Chang-hee's vengeful anger, she just might be the one to knock it down. Who doesn't love little Hanbin? That adorable kid has a magic power to brighten any room with his sunny smile. Daeyoung is positively glowing as her pride and joy recaps his latest school day achievements, including his buddy Najun's tales of an epic dreamland adventure. Soon, Hanbin and Miss Min are tag-teaming Daeyoung to finally take the boy to the theme park like his friend, until he voices his dejected realization that Najun got to go with both mom and dad. Enter the Dino Lollipop Man himself, Daehoon, to the rescue, instantly perking up the dejected youngster with yet another prehistoric sweet treat. His pure adoration for the little guy prompts Daehoon to volunteer as the missing dad figure, joining their crew for Hanbin's dreamed-of dreamland excursion. Meanwhile, Baksun is soaking up quality time with her boy toy Man-hyuk when Sekyung calls, clearly another request to babysit little Jane. The old lady instantly tries brushing her off, until she hears her granddaughter's voice filter through, giving Sekyung the perfect opportunity to butter her up for an upcoming weekend visit. Man-hyuk promises to take back Soon on as many sneaky dates as possible until that familial obligation rolls around. Later that night, as Daeyoung is tucking a sleepy Hanbin into bed, someone's number flashes across her phone. She straight up ignores his call. Seems her time stringing along her former puppet may finally be over now that she's gotten exactly what she wanted from him. Revenge is going smoothly for our lead lady so far, and she's calmly tending to the flowers at the flower shop. A night ago, she ignored the calls and texts of her once-upon-a-time sister-in-law's lover named Sungwon. He still won't give up, as her phone begins to vibrate, taking her mind off work for a bit. From the uninterested look on her face when she sees who is calling her up, it's clear she already knows who the caller is. It's Sungwon. The anxious love-drunk Sungwon immediately seeks to know why his texts were not replied to all night. Daeyoung, to ease him of his worries, lies to him that she did not see the text because she went to bed early the previous night. This sort of reaction is what she wants from him, and because he is too blinded by love to see clearly, he acts exactly how she expects him to, buying her excuse immediately she tells it. With that settled, he wishes to schedule a meeting with her, which she is about to consider when Young-soo, a sports instructor and her ex-husband's wife's secret lover, arrives at the shop at the perfect time, wearing a warm smile, indicating that he is really happy to see her. Seeing as she was already causing her evil sister-in-law from a few years ago, Chang-hee, some pain. She decides it's best to play the next person on her list, Sekyung, the woman who took her place as her ex-husband's wife when they played her and kicked her out. She then disappoints a love-starved Sungwon to attend to Young-soo, claiming to be busy. She assures him she'll call him at a later time and he attempts to plead his case, but she hangs up before he can say anything. Though Young-soo came at the right time, Daeyoung is rather surprised to see him. Even so, she maintains her cool because his presence is of benefit to her plan. When asked why he came to the shop today, he tries to act charming and tells her that he happened to wish to see her and ends up ordering a bouquet. Daeyoung plays dumb and asks Young-soo who all the flowers he keeps getting are for, although she is well aware it's for his secret lover, her ex-husband's new wife, Sekyung. Young-soo blushes as he opens up to her. He tells her the flowers are for no one special, rather they were his excuse for coming to see her. Daeyoung almost loses her cool and says more than she should to Young-soo about his frequent purchasing of bouquets, but withdraws her statement before it's completely let out. This puzzles him, however he doesn't put it to mind thanks to Daeyoung's impressive acting. She assures him that there is nothing to worry about, and with a bright smile, and hands him the bouquet. Upon receiving the bouquet, Young-soo asks Daeyoung when she'd have some free time. He suggests they hang out during the weekend, but Daeyoung politely refuses. She tells him that she already has reservations for the weekends and apologizes because they wouldn't be able to hang out. She then suggests they meet up next week, which makes Young-soo very happy, as he is ready to meet up with her at any time she wishes to see him. She's all smiles until he leaves. After he leaves, a cold vibe covers the room, right before Daeyoung gets back to work. Just outside the shop, Young-soo walks away with the bouquet and joy Daeyoung gives him. The weather seems to be in line with his mood since it's all sunny, and out of that joy, he calls a certain someone to schedule a meeting at the parking lot. From the call conversation, him asking if the kid is at home and the fact that he is meeting this person at a rather hidden place like the parking lot, it's obvious that he is speaking with his secret lover Sekyung. As soon as Young-soo gets off the call with Sekyung, he imagines an intimate moment with Daeyoung that brightens his mood even more. Weekend at last, and Hanbin gets exactly what he wanted, to go to Dreamland and to go with his mom and Daehoon, Mr. Dino Lollipop. Dreamland is very colorful and large, no wonder Najun did not shut up about his visit. Before they start having fun, Daeyoung instructs Hanbin to hold on to her hand firmly so he does not get lost in the very crowded Dreamland. Hanbin is ecstatic. With joy, he complies immediately, holding firmly onto not only his mother's hand but also Sungwon's hand. Both Daeyoung and Daehoon are surprised by this behavior, It makes their cheeks turn red and he leads them to the ride of his choosing. Hanbin is overjoyed as he rides the carousel, while Daeyoung and Sungwon cheer him on from the sidelines. She is happy to see how happy Hanbin and Daehoon are and laughs silently. She uses the opportunity she gets from Hanbin riding the carousel to apologize to Daehoon and thank him for agreeing to Hanbin's requests time and time again. Daeyoung wonders how she could pay him for his kindness, but he simply laughs it off, claiming he had not had this much fun in a while. He also states that his joy comes from the fact that the three of them look so much like a family when they are together. Not too long into this beautiful moment, Hanbin gets off the carousel and tells Daeyoung he wants to try out the next ride. The Jolly Three at Hanbin's command move from ride to ride and even take pictures together. Hanbin remains energetic even though it's getting late. He keeps running up and down, not paying attention to Daeyoung when she tells him not to run so he doesn't hurt himself. Daeyoung isn't done talking when Hanbin accidentally bumps into a little girl who happens to be in his way. After the collision, Daeyoung runs to the rescue, apologizing to the girl as she inquires if the girl is okay. She's still checking to see if the little girl is okay when she hears a familiar voice, "A simple wait, aren't you, Daeyoung?" that brings back every single painful memory of the past. She looks up, hoping it's not who she thinks it is, but it's not just one but three of the people who made her life miserable: Changeob, the man who played her, Baksun, Changeob's mom who took her liver, and Sekyung, his new wife. The little girl is scared and runs to Baksun. Turns out she's Jane, Changeob's daughter. Daeyoung stares at the three people who are left for her to dish out revenge to in disgust. Right place at the wrong time, don't you think? A minute of silence is observed with Changeob and his family on one side and Daeyoung, Daehoon, and Hanbin on the other side. Daehoon can feel the rising tension but doesn't understand what is going on, so he asks Daeyoung who the people before them are. He is interrupted by Changeob, who finally speaks up, expressing how he never expected that Daeyoung would find a man, but he laughs at the fact that he was wrong. He goes on to pat young Hanbin's head, his son he does not know is his, and makes jest of her even having a son. Daeyoung, out of piled-up anger, smacks Changeob's hand from Hanbin's head, ordering him to get his hands off her son. Seeing as Changeob is done having his fun, Sekyung takes her turn to have a go at Daeyoung. She points out the irony in Daeyoung protecting Hanbin when he was the one who ran and bumped into their daughter. Sekyung demands an apology from Daeyoung, which she hesitates to give, only for Daehoon to shield Daeyoung, to her surprise. He finally speaks up, stating that since their daughter looks okay, everyone should be relieved. He then announces their departure and his wish to keep this day memorable for Hanbin. Changeob and his family glare at Daeyoung, Daehoon, and Hanbin in a rather cold and irritated manner when he tells Daeyoung it was time for them to leave. Daehoon never stops attempting to make little Hanbin happy. He picks the little guy up and, to the hearing of all, asks if he has room for ice cream later on. Well, Hanbin's sweet tooth is no secret, so it's no surprise when he cheerfully accepts Daehoon's ice cream offer. When Daeyoung is some steps away from them, Baksun takes a shot at her. She assumes Daehoon, the man with Daeyoung, can't be normal if he is with a defective girl like Daeyoung. She forgets Daeyoung was very normal when they met her and fooled her a few years ago. Sekyung has a laugh after her mother-in-law says such cruel words about Daeyoung. She agrees with Baksun, believing the man with Daeyoung is not okay for being with her. She sees Daeyoung struggling to get by as funny, but while they mock Daeyoung, Changeob remains silent. He has his mind on Hanbin because he notices some resemblance between the boy and himself. He gives this some thought, yet he ends up at the conclusion that Hanbin couldn't be his child. Jane, as she heard the boy who bumped into her was going to get ice cream, suddenly wanted some. She waits for the right opportunity and asks for hers when the opportunity presents itself, and then Changeob and his family leave in an opposite direction from Daeyoung. Daeyoung might have been able to keep her cool at first, but as she leaves with Daehoon it's clear she is shaken by her having run into Changeob and the rest of his family who are left in her plan for revenge. Both Daehoon and Hanbin notice her tremble, however, Daehoon intends to stop her from trembling, before Hanbin gets worried. He holds her shoulder, causing her to flinch, sad right. She is so troubled that she is unaware of her surroundings for a moment. Daehoon, now that he has gotten Daeung's attention, advises her to calm down for now because Hanbin is watching her. Daeung is on the verge of crying here, yet she holds back her tears, dries the few drops that are about to be left out, and replaces her gloom with a brightening smile. It's already getting late. Even so, Hanbin's day at Dreamland is far from over for him. He informs Daeung about his wish to go on another ride at Dreamland. She puts on a fake smile, just for Hanbin, and permits him to go on the ride. Daehoon smiles when he sees how strong Daeung is being, so they spend some more time at Dreamland before heading home. It's already nighttime when the pack are done at Dreamland, and are driving towards home in Daehoon's car. Hanbin is fast asleep, allowing the adults to have a little chat during the drive. Daeung starts by thanking Daehoon for coming with her and Hanbin to Dreamland. Daehoon politely refuses to be thanked, stating that it is rather him who should be thanking her for the fun time he had. Daeung takes a peep at the back seat where Hanbin is fast asleep. She laughs at how tired he must have been for him to fall asleep on the drive home. Hanbin becomes a topic now, with Daehoon bringing up how he was surprised Hanbin had so much energy. Daeung supports Daehoon's observation and states that it takes a lot of stamina to keep up with Hanbin while playing with him. After another shift period of laughing, there is a period of awkward silence, so Daehoon gets to ask Daeung about the confrontation a few hours ago at Dreamland. He seeks to know who the people who were mean to her are, although he felt like he had no right to ask her stuff like that, but the way they were rude to her annoyed her. Sure, he was angry, yet he doesn't even know if it's right for him to be angry on her behalf. Now he's asked it, she has to tell him about the people who made her life miserable for a moment. It's never easy for her to tell this story though. She tells Daehoon that those people are her enemies. Initially, he doesn't quite get it, but Daeung plans to make it clear for him with a little explanation that follows. She explains her life during her short time with Changeob in a few lines and how they took too much from her. She starts with how Changeob charmed her into marrying him when she was still young, then persuaded her into donating her liver to his mother. As if that was not enough, he kicked her out, using her from start to finish. Daehoon is so annoyed by what Changeob's family did to Daeung that he almost swears. The story she has told him takes his mind to the scar on Daeung's stomach. He suspects it's the after effect of the surgery, and she nods her head, affirming his suspicion. She then tells him that for that singular act of wickedness they had done to her, she was going to crush them. Daehoon looks at Daeung pitifully. He finally understands why Daeung is so desperate in trying to get her revenge. He wants in on bringing these evil people down, so he asks Daeung if there is anything he could do to help her out. She thanks him for his offering to help, but sees his offer to help her as enough help already. He returns his focus to the road and suggests that he, her, and Hanbin should play again sometime, as Hanbin looked like he was having fun. Daeung marvels at the man. He's really something special. That's why it's no surprise that she welcomes the idea of them having fun together some other time. The rest of the ride is all smiles and Hanbin is fast asleep throughout. It's morning time and the Sports and Cultural Center, where Young-soo works as an instructor, it is also Sekyung's most visited place, pops up. The secret couple is having a lesson outside the scope of swimming, however. Sadly for Sekyung, their moment of intimacy is interrupted when his phone starts vibrating. Sekyung is offended by this call that interrupts their intimate moment before it even starts, but Young-soo apologizes and goes on to take the call when he sees it's from Daeung. He changes his tone to a rather soft tone. The call comes as a shock to him because he's always the one who calls her first. Daeung tells Young-soo she misses him, and her words make him very happy. However, their call lingers for too long, causing Sekyung to panic. She figures out that something might be up. She gets jealous and decides to do something about the call. Young-soo is about finding out when Daeung will be at the sporting center when Sekyung announces her presence. Young-soo quickly puts the call on hold to ask Sekyung what she's doing. Sekyung casually replies, "You were not paying any attention to me." He doesn't get to conclude scolding Sekyung because Daeung senses commotion from his end and asks if he is with someone at the moment. He lies that he is currently in the middle of a lesson and will call her back later. Although he is annoyed that Sekyung just interfered with his shit at Daeung, he tries his best to maintain his cool. Sekyung became cautious because from what she could pick out, it sounded like he was talking to another woman. She confirms with him that he is not seeing someone other than her, and he is able to convince her that she is the only one in his mind. They proceed to their make-out session, but while they are at it, Sekyung can't shake off the fact that the voice of the caller sounds very familiar. Eventually, she does shake it off and goes on with the make-out session. Sekyung returns home after her make-out session to find her sister-in-law, Chang-hee, waiting standing outside her apartment building. Sekyung seeks to know the reason behind her unannounced visit, but the response she is about to get will cause a little dink in her perfect wife act. Chang-hee does not respond to Sekyung's question, "What are you doing here?" with words. She simply points her phone screen to Sekyung. Sekyung is shocked when she has a look at the image and it's her with her secret lover, Young-soo. Seeing as her cover is blown, Sekyung immediately tries to cook up an explanation for Chang-hee, but she does not give her that privilege. She asks if she should show the picture to Changyeob, so Sekyung goes from trying to cook up an excuse to pleading with Chang-hee. Chang-hee, knowing fully well that she now has Sekyung under her thumb, demands that Sekyung show how serious she is in not wanting the proof of her little affair to get to Changyeob. Chang-hee exhibits some serious professionalism in her blackmail. She requests for a whooping 10 million won for her to keep her mouth shut. Sekyung's shock increases, yet as if that is not enough, Chang-hee demands that the money be delivered to her by the following day. She pats her victim's shoulder and walks away, threatening to take the matter to Changyeob if she doesn't hear from her. Looks like Sekyung is getting what she deserves, even before Daeung has her revenge on her. She stays fixed to the spot Chang-hee left her in, chewing her nails, wondering how she got caught. She doesn't dwell on that for too long, as the most important thing now is how to get the money Chang-hee requested before she exposes her. She considers asking Young-soo for help. Because of the gifts she's been giving him, aside from Young-soo, no one else comes to her mind. This will be a real bother for her. While Sekyung is busy looking for a way to handle her Chang-hee emergency, her accomplice is at the flower shop, waiting to see Daeung, oblivious to what is going on with Sekyung. It seems like Daeung is just closing the shop when he arrives. He asks if he's late, but Daeung assures him he came right on time. He suggests they go for a ride, and she agrees. During the ride, Young-soo expresses how happy he is that Daeung called him first. He's made a wrong move though, and she preys on it. She starts off her act by acting happy that he acknowledged that she called first, then she goes all sad. So Young-soo asks what's up, and she uses as low a tone as possible to tell him that she believes he's dating someone. Young-soo wastes no time to claim he is not dating anyone, as Daeung expects. She then asks for permission to say something, and he gladly grants her permission, but he never expected her to tell him she likes him, so he's stunned when she tells him this. The weight of Daeung's confession causes Young-soo to steer off the road and parks his car by the side of the road to hear Daeung out. He exclaims, "Are you serious?" to make sure she isn't toying with him. She tells him that she has liked him for some time now, but left things as they were because she felt he was dating the beautiful woman from the sports center. From the description Daeung gives, Young-soo suspects she is referring to Sekyung. As expected, he denies having anything to do with Sekyung. While waving his hands to look as convincing as possible, he claims Sekyung is one of the sports center's members and being nice to her is part of his job. Daeyoung knows he is lying, yet she's been able to keep herself this hidden for a while now. She proceeds with her act and tells him that though what he is saying might be true, they look so close, so she doesn't want to bring up her feelings about him. He then gives it some thought. The time to make a decision had come, a married Sekyung or a seemingly single Daeyoung. He's made his choice, which is Daeyoung, so he assures her that she has nothing to worry about and even goes as far as swearing. With sincerity, he promises Daeyoung he will try his best to avoid her and won't even see her at all. Daeyoung has him right where she wants him, so she acts like she's touched and asks him if he'd go that far for her. She acts all bright and bubbly, that she even initiates a hug. The look in her eyes during the hug serves as a reminder to all who may have forgotten that Daeyoung is out for revenge and would stoop as low as possible to get it. She seals the deal with lip contact in his car, under the moonlight. The following day, a distressed Sekyung sits at what looks like a diner, on her own. The empty seat before her means it's time for her to drop off the money Sekyung asked for. A lot of questions are going through her mind, questions like, would the money she had been saving without Changeob's knowledge be able to end this? She has no other reservoir to withdraw from if Chang-hee feels like asking for more. The tension is really getting to her. Chewing her nails does not help her at all, besides it won't save her from Chang-hee. Hi Sekyung, a twisted Chang-hee uses those two words to announce her presence. Sekyung's misery at the moment is helping her forget that she's lost someone, the man who left her for another woman, if only she knew it was Daeyoung. Sekyung speaks to Chang-hee very politely, the nicest she's spoken to anyone in a very long time, as she offers her a seat and tells her she has been waiting for her arrival. Chang-hee sits majestically, savoring the mental torture she is putting Sekyung through. Once she's settled in, Sekyung goes straight to business. She reaches into her purse for the envelope with the money she's to use to pay for Chang-hee's silence. She trembles while pulling out the envelope with the money from her bag and slides the envelope over to Chang-hee. Chang-hee observes the money in a very uninterested manner when Sekyung asks her the big question, will she keep her secret or not? Chang-hee doesn't give her a yes or no. Instead, she asks Sekyung if she knows her boyfriend Sungwon. Sekyung starts to sweat and gets more nervous, but she affirms that she knows Sungwon. Chang-hee tells her the little take about how she broke up with Sungwon, her blunt but then loyal boyfriend who had eyes on only her, that is until he cheated on her, which is why she can't stand cheating. She trembles as the story proceeds and gives off a sick smile, like some crazy lady, causing Sekyung to be even more afraid. Chang-hee confesses that all she's doing to Sekyung now could be that she is taking out her aggression on her. Sekyung, from Chang-hee's current demeanor, realizes that she has to get out of this pit she is in as quickly as possible. She tries pleading with Chang-hee, stating that she was wrong to see someone else and that it was just a short affair. She promises to end things with Young-soo right away to get Chang-hee to let her off easy, just this one time. Chang-hee is not interested and states that whatever she wishes to do about her affair is up to her, after which she casually asks Sekyung if she can ask her for a favor. Sekyung, in a bid to save herself and also get on Chang-hee's good side, is ready to do anything to save herself, so she permits Chang-hee to ask her for the favor. It's not like she had a choice in the first place. At Sekyung's demand, Chang-hee tells her that she is curious about the woman who stole someone from her and wants her to find out who the woman is. This request makes it clear that Chang-hee had not gotten over Sungwon, but roping Sekyung into this is quite dark, don't you think? Sekyung is stunned by Chang-hee's request. First, she asks for her 10 million won, and now she wants her to find out the woman who snatched her man. However, Chang-hee assured her that if she finds this out, she won't tell Changeob about her affair. Sekyung agrees to find out who the woman is for Chang-hee, holding her to her word. Chang-hee is happy about the response. She smiles dementedly and rises to take her leave. Before she leaves, she reminds Sekyung that she is not a patient person and she has till the end of the week to bring her some good news or she'd have to pay some more money for her silence. It was all talk at first, Sekyung trying to sound tough, but as Chang-hee leaves, she is troubled. At the moment she cannot think of a way to find the woman who snatched Sungwon for Chang-hee. At the flower shop, Daeyoung is done attending to a customer and bids him goodbye when she gets a call from Sungwon. She refuses to take the call, which means she is still ignoring him. The shop bell chimes shortly after the last customer exited the shop, taking her mind off the call to whoever just walked into the flower shop. The sound of the bell automatically makes her utter a welcome before she looks up and realizes it's just Young-soo. She acts all happy to see him, while he is unaware of this act and seeks to be sure he is not bothering her while she is at work. Daeyoung tells him she is glad to see him, so he also spills and tells her how he missed her so much he couldn't stand it and came to visit her, which he hopes is not against any rule. Sungwon on the other hand is at the other end of the phone, resilient as ever, continuously trying to reach out to Daeyoung, even though each call went unanswered. Young-soo orders a bouquet, whatever she had at the shop, so she asks who it's for and this time it's actually not for anyone, he assures her that. She can tell he is being honest and decides to give him a plant instead of a bouquet. Young-soo slightly objects to taking home a plant, with the claim that he is unsure if he would be able to do a good job at taking care of it. She laughs at how clueless he looks, then she drops a hint that if he were to have a plant at his place, she could come take care of it for him. Young-soo's face glows red at the sound of this, he welcomes the idea, so he tells her he would like to purchase a plant. Daeyoung seems glad to hear this, she turns to the shelves where the plants are and asks which one he would like. Young-soo reminds her of how clueless he is when it comes to flowers, so she picks out one for him, that he approves of. While she is packaging the plant for him, he gets a call and when he takes a look at his phone to see the caller, it's Seokyoung, calling him at the worst time ever. He gets pissed when he sees that she is the one calling him and when Daeyoung asks if he wouldn't pick up the call, he simply lies that it's a spam call which he does not have to pick up. It's unclear whether Daeyoung believes Young-soo or not, but the smile on her face makes it look like she does. She advises him to be careful with the plant, yet his mind is on something else. When would she come over to have a look at the plant? It's a bit early, but Young-soo asks Daeyoung if she would like to come check the plant later that day and surprisingly agrees to do so. He is excited by her reply and tells her he'll come and pick her up at closing time. She's a good actress, I must say, making him believe she's excited to come see him that night. He is about to leave when the shop bells chime and Daehoon walks into the flower shop, with coffee in hand. Daehoon locks Young-soo in a cold glare. Young-soo glares back, as expected before releasing a little laugh and walks out of the flower shop, humming in joy. Daehoon can't tell what the man's problem is, so he proceeds with the reason why he came to visit in the first place. He goes over to Daeyoung at the counter and offers her the coffee. As she welcomes him, he takes note of her being alone at the shop and asks where Ms. Min is. Daeyoung assures him Ms. Min would be at the shop soon, speak of the angel. She arrives with Hanbin seconds after Daeyoung predicts her arrival. Hanbin announces his presence as he walks into the store, only to notice his friend, Daehoon aka Mr. Dino Lollipop, is at the store. Hanbin runs to him happily with his arms wide open for a hug, while Daehoon has his hands wide open too, to pick Hanbin up. Daeyoung is happy to see her son and Daehoon bond while Daehoon is very happy to see Hanbin because it's been a while since they last saw each other. Aren't they just so cute together? But what's even more cuter is when Hanbin shocks everyone, the moment he tells Daehoon that he drew him while he was at school. Daehoon is surprised when he hears this and watches Hanbin scramble through his drawing book to show him what he drew. He eventually finds the drawing. It's remarkable for someone of Hanbin's age. It's also a drawing of when they went to Dreamland, with the corn dog and cotton candy in Daehoon's hands in the drawing. Daehoon, after going through the drawing Hanbin made of him, picks him up, commending him for his artistry. As a reward, he promises Hanbin 5 Dino lollipops when he comes next. The sound of his reward for the drawing makes Hanbin very happy. Daeyoung and Ms. Min watch it all play out, and then Daeyoung thanks Daehoon for always thinking about Hanbin, while Hanbin still has Daehoon in his embrace. 5 Dino lollipops mean a lot to Hanbin. Daehoon tells Daeyoung that he only takes care of Hanbin because he enjoys it. He also enjoys how close he and Hanbin have become. He offers to take Daeyoung home after work, but she politely declines his offer with the excuse that she has some personal things to attend to. He is surprised that she does, but before he can say anything else, Daeyoung asks Hanbin if he is okay sleeping by himself without her. Hanbin is surprisingly cooperative and assures his mother he can sleep on his own. After settling things with Hanbin, Daeyoung tells Ms. Min she would leave Hanbin with her for the night, and Ms. Min is also cooperative, agreeing to watch Hanbin for her. Daehoon finally understands what is going on. He deciphers that Daeyoung will be pursuing her revenge plot that night, so he takes his leave, but before he does, he admonishes her to be careful. She has to go do what she must for payback. Later that night, after Daeyoung closes from work, Young-soo comes to get her, as promised. He notices that she looks tired, however, she dodges the comment by thanking him for waiting for her. Young-soo proposes they start moving, but before Daeyoung steps into the vehicle, for a brief moment, she has this cold look of determination on her face that turns into her fake smile, and they leave together in his car. The pair finally arrive at Young-soo's little apartment complex, where Daeyoung is supposed to be having a look at the plant he just got. Young-soo tries to make his home sound less small, before innocently asking if she wants to check out the plant he bought. He tells her he positioned it where he can see it. Out of nervousness, he just won't shut up, so she shuts him up by pulling him into a kiss. At first, he is surprised, but decides to enjoy the moment. He asks if she'd like to take things to the bed, and with her approval, they move to his bedroom. After their little moment of intimacy, Young-soo brings up his surprise at the heated moment a few minutes ago. Daeyoung replies to his comments by telling him that she has always wanted to make him her man. He likes the comment, it amuses him, that is until a few seconds after telling him she wants to make him her man, she gets up to leave. He queries her about her wanting to leave, but she uses work the following day as an excuse. He tries to get her to stay the night, but she refuses, using Ms. Min as an excuse. She tells him her boss would be upset if she came late. He lets her leave, but before she does, they indulge in another minute of intimacy that she isn't feeling but pretends to be in on. It's 12:17 when she finally leaves Young-soo's place. We'd expect her to call it a night, but instead, she calls up Sungwon. She starts by apologizing for reaching out to him at such late a time, but it's no big deal to him, or as he says, better late than never. She asks him if she'd be asking for too much to schedule a meeting this late. On the contrary, he welcomes the idea and is ready to come meet him immediately. In the end, they agree to meet at the hotel they usually meet up at. Later that night, Sungwon rushes to the hotel, like it's an emergency. He barges into the room to meet it neatly arranged, with no sight of Daeyoung and the shower running. He asks if she is currently in the shower when she comes out of the shower with no clothes on and seduces Sungwon into an intimate moment that marvels him. Their intimate moment lasts long into the night but has to come to an end as they cannot spend the night together, because they both have work in the morning. Sungwon still doesn't mind staying the night, but Daeyoung insists she has to go, suggesting that next time he takes her to a nice place so they can spend the night together there. A brainwashed Sungwon nods in agreement, clearly looking forward to the night they would spend together. The following day, Changeob has to leave for work. His wife and daughter are at the door, waiting to bid him goodbye. Sekyung stays alert, waiting to hear what Changeob says next to see if Sekyung has told on her or not. She is relieved when he permits her to have dinner without him because he feels he would be home late, due to some business he has to take care of. She wishes him a nice day as he leaves home. She heaves a sigh of relief, realizing Chang-hee hasn't told Changeob anything yet. Her mind becomes busy. She knows she has to find the girl in question fast. Her time is running out with every second she wasted, without beginning her search. Sekyung can remember Sungwon's name and where he works, so she wonders if she should stake out his company with faith that the lady in question would just pop up, but she realizes that would yield slow results and she did not have time on her side. She decides it'll be faster for her to hire a private investigator to keep an eye on Sungwon, The only problem is she doesn't know where to find one, since this is the first time she is doing something like this. It's a bit of a hassle for her. She even thinks about the matter until she forgets she has to drop Jane at school. Jane eventually gets her attention, so she says she has to be in school at that time. She has to pause her thinking for a while to get her daughter to school. Furthermore, it's decided that she has to look into this matter as fast as possible before Jane gets back. This revenge thing is seriously weighing on Dae-young, who is at work after dealing with 2 men the night before. She looks pale, nevertheless, she is certain things will quiet down for the time being. She's still deep in thought when the shop's bell chimes, meaning a customer has walked in. As if she had not gone through enough last night, now she has to deal with customers. Nonetheless, this customer is Man-hyuk, the old man she put on Baksun, Changeob's mother's case. His presence at the shop means he has feedback for her. Their conversation starts with a simple greeting, then Man-hyuk takes note of how unwell Dae-young looks. He asks if she's okay and she responds by assuring him she is fine, sleep-deprived, but fine. He is relieved she is okay. However, she asks him not to worry about her and asks how things with Baksun are going. Well then, Man-hyuk has to brief her on his progress so far. As we all know, he has made Baksun head over heels in love with him. How is he certain she is? That's because she showers him with gifts, like whatever amount of money she requests for. That being said, he lets Dae-young know that if she wants any amount of money, she should just ask and he would get it for her. She kindly refuses his offer and asks that he focus on making Baksun stay in love with him. He has not forgotten his mission, aside from coming to the shop to give her feedback on his progress so far. Man-hyuk requests a bouquet he plans on giving Baksun, as he is on his way to see her. Dae-young whips up a nice bouquet for Man-hyuk to take to Baksun, leaving her totally in his hands. He promises not to disappoint her on his way out. Dae-young did a good job acting strong while she conversed with Man-hyuk, but goes back to how she was before he came into the store. From a distance, Ms. Min watches Dae-young struggle with the after effects of being sleep-deprived. She worries about the poor girl and orders her to get some rest because she does not look well. She asks Dae-young to take Hanbin and head home early, refusing to listen to Dae-young's request to keep working. Ms. Min wins, convincing her it's okay for her to go home and take the rest of the day off. Dae-young gives in, agreeing to take this one day off. Elsewhere, Baksun waits for Man-hyuk at what looks like the place where they are supposed to meet. He finally arrives with the bouquet in hand, which is his surprise for her. She is indeed surprised though. Dae-young did a good job with the bouquet. When asked what the purpose of the bouquet is, Man-hyuk drops a cheesy line Baksun, postulating he saw the bouquet as he was passing by and it reminded him of her. She admires the bouquet, just as planned. Man-hyuk is a real ladies' man, by the way. First flowers, then he asks Baksun if she'd like to go for a walk with him. Because of how nice it is outside, Baksun agrees to go for the walk, all because of how smooth Man-hyuk is being. At home, Sek-young spends the little time she has before Jane gets back, pacing up and down the living room, trying to reach out to Young-soo who isn't picking up her calls. It's annoying, yet she remains persistent till it pays off. When Young-soo takes the call, she yells at him for him, questioning him on why he did not pick up. He uses work as an excuse for not being able to take her calls, then he asks what her problem is. His response calms her down. She hadn't thought about what she'd say to him when he eventually picked up, and now that he has picked up she's puzzled. She can't tell what his reaction would be if she told him they got caught and is unsure of what to say to him. She comes up with the right topic to discuss, their relationship. She blames her sudden mood on them not talking of late. Young-soo claims to have been too busy, so he uses her words against her, reminding her she said they can't meet because her mother-in-law would not watch her daughter. She affirms she had said so but shifts the conversation aside, as she wishes to ask him something. Surprisingly, he doesn't even hear her out and hangs up because someone came looking for him. It's unclear what annoys Sek-young more, when Young-soo doesn't pick up her calls or the way he hangs up on her. Out of rage, she calls him useless for not being of any help to her at a time like this. Her mind grows busier. What should she do? She can't figure anything out, believing she cannot possibly get out of this pickle on her own. She needed help, yet she knew no one to run to. These are trying times for Sekyung, that put her mental health at stake. In the next scene, Daeyoung is walking by the side of the road with her son Hanbin. The weather. Wait, Manhyuk and Baksun are supposed to be on a walk. They can't possibly run into each other, right? Anyways, the backpack Hanbin hangs during the walk home means he just got back from school. Daeyoung's day off gave her the opportunity to pick up Hanbin from school. She quizzes him about him being happy that he gets to go home early with her, and he is overjoyed, thus the wide smile on his face. He gists his mom, Daeyoung, about his day at school, specifically how he made a sandcastle. Daeyoung is proud of him. She is also happy to hear that he washed his hands once he was done. Drama lurks as they approach a bend. Lo and behold, Baksun and Manhyuk pop up from the other side of the bend. Baksun and Daeyoung's eyes meet. Baksun's mood changes immediately. Manhyuk, on the other hand, though surprised that they have fun with each other, does as Daeyoung expects for the sake of the revenge plot and acts clueless. He says nothing to Daeyoung, and acts like he doesn't her. Instead, he focuses his attention on Baksun and asks her what the matter is. Baksun clearly states she was in a good mood initially, however seeing this filth, as in Daeyoung, completely ruined her mood. She's upset she continuously bumps into the girl whose liver is currently in her body because they live in the same neighborhood. Why is she so rude to Daeyoung? There is no solid reason for her rudeness. Daeyoung says nothing about her unkind words, that is until she ropes Hanbin into the conversation, by wishing Daeyoung and Hanbin, whom she calls a monkey, would disappear. He'd been there the whole time, silent, holding on to his mother's skirt. Daeyoung warns her not to say such things in front of Hanbin because he can hear her. Manhyuk has heard enough. If anything, what Baksun has just said to Daeyoung before his eyes would serve as fuel for his hunger to take her down for what she did to Daeyoung. He maintains his smile, then persuades Baksun that there is no reason for her to get riled up about this. They should continue with their walk. Baksun heeds Manhyuk's request, so they walk away from where the confrontation went down and go on with their journey. However, Manhyuk looks back at Daeyoung, who hasn't moved from the spot they left her at. They make eye contact and give a nod simultaneously as some kind of signal. Hanbin starts crying suddenly. Turns out Baksun's words might have gotten to him. He asks Daeyoung if he has done anything bad to understand why the old lady was mad at him just now. Daeyoung comforts Hanbin, wrapping him in a soft embrace. She tells him he has done nothing wrong. The problem is from the woman, just how, as she is a bad person. Daeyoung watches Baksun leave and silently promises her she's going to cry tears of blood soon. Back to Hanbin, Daeyoung suggests they get something yummy to eat that night, that she would make for him, to cheer him up. His choice is very predictable, as usual. It has something to do with dinosaurs, dino nuggets to be precise. The sun begins to set when Daehoon arrives at the flower shop, to find Ms. Min working. It doesn't take him too long to notice it's just Ms. Min at the shop since he has not seen any sign of Daeyoung. Ms. Min tells him about her decision to give Daeyoung the rest of the day off because of how unwell she looked. Daehoon gets worried and also curious, resulting in him asking Ms. Min if something happened to Daeyoung. Ms. Min wasn't sure though, she only sent her home to rest because she did not look okay. He thanks Ms. Min for the little piece of information she has given him and heads out. As he walks away from the store, he wonders if what Daeyoung is facing is some backlash from her wish to gain revenge. He was cool with it at first, but if it meant she might be harmed, then he really had to say something about it. Based on what Ms. Min has told Daehoon, he becomes worried and decides it's best to go to check up on her. She is all that is on his mind during the drive to her place. He gets to her home in the apartment building she is living at, braces himself for the worst, then he uses the doorbell. Daeyoung opens up, shocked to see him at her door. She hasn't even invited him in yet when Hanbin hears someone talking to his mother and wants to see who it is. Like Daeyoung, He is surprised to see Mr. Dino Lollipop and assumes he has come to give him the 5 Dino Lollipops he promised him for drawing a picture of him at Dreamland. He knows his response would let Hanbin down, but we can't blame him. He only rushed to Daeyoung's home to see if she was okay. How was he supposed to remember his Dino Lollipop's promise? A disappointed Hanbin runs to his mother, who tells him to show better manners. Hanbin clings to her leg, mourning the fact that he wants a Dino Lollipop but won't get one. Daeyoung uses dinner to try to take Hanbin's mind off his Dino Lollipop craving. Maybe he feels he came at the wrong time, surprised he came when they were about to have dinner, but the topic doesn't last long. Daeyoung is curious about Daehoon's reason behind this unexpected visit, reminding him that he had a reason for coming to her house to see her. Daehoon tried explaining that since he heard Daeyoung went home because she was not feeling well, he came to check up on her. Daeyoung's face goes red out of embarrassment. She can tell he got his information from Ms. Min, which might have caused him to worry. Daeyoung asserts she is fine because what she was feeling is not as serious as Ms. Min made it sound. It is as they say, seeing is believing, and seeing as she looks okay, he's relieved. Hanbin's stomach grumbles loudly, dragging everyone's attention to himself. Daehoon, seeing that Hanbin is hungry, he apologizes for coming when it was their dinner time. Young Hanbin then makes a surprising but very kind move. By telling Daehoon he's okay, he came when it is dinner time and invites him to have dinner with them. Why not? Hanbin tells Daehoon that since he is going to give him candy, so he should eat with them. Who would have seen this coming? Daehoon didn't. He doesn't even know how to respond, yet Hanbin tells him what's on the menu, homemade Dino nuggets he wants to share with him. Daehoon attempts to give Hanbin an excuse and Hanbin assumes he is refusing to join them because he hates Dino nuggets. It's almost like he is waiting for Daeyoung to ask him to join them for dinner. Why else would he agree to join them without a fuss when Daeyoung asks him to join them for their not-so-fancy dinner? Hanbin takes Daehoon's hand, welcoming him into their home with the condition that after he ate their Dino nuggets, he would get him 5 Dino lollipops. He promises to do as Hanbin has said, no surprise there. Not too far away from Daeyoung's place, Changeob has just gotten home from work. His daughter rushes to him yelling "Daddy," like there is a problem. Changeob then questions her on what the problem is. The smile on his face says he expects it's something minor. She reports her mom to him because she has been so busy she refused to play with her. Technically it should be considered a minor problem, but Changeob loves his daughter and Sekyung is a stay-at-home mom, so what could possibly stop her from playing with Jane? Changeob is shocked to hear Sekyung is busy. Sekyung comes out from where she was to discover Changeob is back from work, just after Jane has reported her to him. He asks her if something has happened to make her so busy that she can't play with Jane. In her defense, she has a lot on her mind. Changeob does not regard her excuse though. He sees nothing for her to be worried about as a stay-at-home mom. Realizing that she has to come up with something to save herself from Changeob's growing suspicion, Sekyung lies that Jane's teacher said something and she was busy looking into it. Luckily for her, he buys her excuse but employs her to remember to spend time with Jane, because she is their one and only princess. Sekyung agrees to do so, squashing this beef for the time being. Jane asks her father to read her a picture book, which he promises to do, right after a quick shower. While her husband and daughter are having a little father and daughter time, Sekyung releases a sigh of relief, glad she was able to get out of this one. She has to clear her mind though and find a private investigator as quickly as possible. She is worried about how much hiring one will cost her, but concludes it's better she finds a private investigator and pays what is charged so he helps her out than for Chang-hee to keep taking hush money from her. Still, somewhere around the corner, Chang-hee is in a dark room. Her phone screen is the only thing adding a little light to the room. She's seated on the couch, muttering words with her eyes fixed on an image of her and her ex-boyfriend, Sungwon. The woman who was acting bold and threatening Sekyung was just for show. The real side of her comes out here. She's clearly depressed because of the breakup and plans on killing the woman who took Sungwon from her, the instant she finds that woman. During this time, Baksun returns home, announcing her arrival at the entrance. A depressed Chang-hee comes to welcome her and questions her on why she is coming home so late. Baksun is startled when a moody Chang-hee pops up from the darkness. When she realizes it's just Chang-hee brooding in the dark, she gives her a nonchalant response. Chang-hee doesn't let her off easy. She asks her mom if she really did find a man, yet Baksun refuses to give her a direct response. She warns her not to worry about her and worry about herself. To silence Chang-hee properly, she brings up her failed relationship with Sungwon, reminding her that Sungwon broke up with her because she did not heed her advice and got married when she asked her to. She slams the door on Chang-hee, annoying her the more till she grinds her teeth in rage. Back at Daeyoung's place, Hanbin is fast asleep with toys scattered around him and a sealed Dino lollipop. He must have fallen asleep due to tiredness again. Daehoon thanked Daeyoung for the meal, confessing that it tasted nice. She refuses to accept his praise, stating that his appreciation is embarrassing, as the meal wasn't anything fancy. She feels he might have been lying the first time she asked why he came, maybe because Hanbin was there, so she asks the question again. He repeats the same reply, but this time he looks so remorseful. He did come because he was worried about her. His response makes her heart sink. Such kindness is rare for someone like her. Daehoon's worry is very visible. She tells him that nothing happened to her except for the fact that she was tired. He smiles at her response. They ease him of his worries because he realizes that he was worrying too much. Daeyoung listens in silence, touched that he came all the way to her house out of worry for her. She thanks him for worrying about her. According to her, no one has worried about her to that level before, so his worrying about her makes her happy. Tears begin to puke up in her eyes when Daehoon lightly shuns her for saying that. He brings to her mind that Ms. Min and Hanbin also care about her a great deal. He admonishes her to take good care of herself, as that is the best thing she could do for the ones who are concerned for her. Well, if she didn't put that in mind before, now she will. In the following scene is Sekyung roaming a shady-looking neighborhood with dark shades on. After looking left and right to confirm if she is being followed and finding out she isn't, she quickly slips into one of the buildings in the neighborhood. Inside the abandoned-looking house, she waltzed into. An elderly-looking man rose from his seat. He had been expecting her and offered her a seat. This must be the private investigator. Sekyung takes a seat, rummages through her bag and pulls out a picture of someone. She informs the man that the man in the picture is the one she discussed with him about. She queries his ability to do what she has asked him to do with the documents he requested that she has provided him with. She makes him understand that this is a matter of utmost importance, ordering the private investigator to find out who Sekyung is seeing at all cost. The investigator laughs at her request, unfazed by how serious she sounds. He only asks for a week to get her the information she wants. He assures Sekyung he will find the woman, and then she leaves. Sure, Sekyung has taken the case to a private investigator, but as she exits his secret office, her mind is still busy. She wonders if the investigator would truly find the woman. Turns out Sekyung is mad at this mystery woman because, from the way she sees it, it is because she snatched Sungwon that she ended up in this mess. Though her mind is as busy as it is, she has not learned her lesson, with her mind still on her secret lover Young-soo. She wonders what he is up to and gives him a call. Nevertheless, he doesn't pick up. Sekyung gets irritated that Young-soo does not take her calls, plus he had not been if any help to her since she got into this mess. Still, she blames the woman who snatched Sungwon from Chang-hee. It's all getting to her, all this uncalled for drama that is uncalled for. Down to the flower shop, it's open and running as usual, business is booming. A customer just left the shop and Daeyoung thanked the customer, hoping whoever it was would come back another time. Ms. Min acknowledges how good work Daeyoung has done, commending her for it, but he also commends Ms. Min. Ms. Min is glad she let Daeyoung take a day off. She can see it was the right decision. According to her, it has made Daeyoung look much better, though Daeyoung didn't notice it. She gets fired up, promising to work hard today to make up for yesterday's missed hours. An idea Ms. Min welcomes. Even so, she advises Daeyoung not to work too hard. Their chat comes to a close with the shop bell going off, indicating someone has walked into the store. Daeyoung welcomes the believed customer, yet it is none other than Young-soo, gleefully walking into the shop in the middle of the day. They hadn't seen each other since the night he bought the plant for her. Also, he came unannounced, so she asked him why he was at the store. He states that it's obvious he came to see her. He also had a question to ask her. Daeyoung decides to hear him out and he loses her when he asks if she'd like to come over to water his plant. This is what she gets for leading him on. His question annoys her though. The cold dead look in her eyes for a second says that much. For the sake of her plan, Daeyoung maintains her cool, relying on the excuse that excessive watering of the plant would make the root rot, to escape a night with Young-soo and promises him she would come over another time. Her response dampens the happy mood he came with. Nevertheless, she repeats her words earlier, that she would come to water his plant next time. Young-soo, before he leaves, locks Daeyoung's hand in a hand hug and tells her he will talk to him later. She plays along, utilizing her fake smile to make him believe she looks forward to seeing him. The shop bell chimes again, signifying Young-soo exiting the store. We don't know how much Daeyoung is disgusted by Young-soo at first until she uses a rag to wipe the hand Young-soo hand-hugged. While Daeyoung wipes off Young-soo goo from her hand, her phone vibrates, so she checks it out. It was a DM from someone who wanted to know if she was free enough for them to meet up. Daeyoung replies that she is going to see someone else later on, so she will see him next time. Looks like she has no interest in seeing either man for some time. After all, she saw them both just 2 days ago. The shop bell chimes again. This time Daeyoung looks up before dropping a welcome. Surely she is glad to see it's just a customer, who ends up purchasing a plant. After a good day's work, Daeyoung is at home with Hanbin. The little boy is busy playing with dinosaurs and spacemen when Daeyoung tells him it's time for him to get his teeth brushed. Instead of quietly moving to the bathroom to get his teeth brushed, Hanbin calls for Daeyoung's attention. As he gets it, he asks why Daehoon, Mr. Dino Lollipop, didn't come today. She tries to utter an explanation for her son but doesn't know what words to choose. Poor Hanbin, he wishes to see Daehoon and that the three of them could be together all the time. The following day, Daeyoung is busy tending to a plant at the flower shop. She is so focused on the plant that she doesn't even notice when the shop bell chimes and Man-hyuk walks in. It is when he asks how she is that he notices his arrival and is pleased to see him. He orders a bouquet. We know who it's for, right? While putting together the bouquet, Daeyoung asks Man-hyuk how the construction of the new screen golf center he was building with Baksoon's money. He informs her that construction is going well and lets her in on a plan to bring up the topic of them moving in together. As if swindling Baksoon of her money is not enough for revenge, breaking Baksoon's heart after requesting to move in with her? Daeyoung welcomes the idea with open arms. However, she feels Man-hyuk might forget the goal and move in with her. It may get serious with her. Suspecting what Daeyoung might have in mind, Man-hyuk assures her she does not have to worry. He wouldn't actually move in with Baksoon. Daeyoung is relieved to hear Man-hyuk has not misplaced his priorities and hands over a well-made bouquet for him to give Baksoon. Man-hyuk takes the bouquet, leaves a word of encouragement for Daeyoung and sees himself out. As he leaves the shop, Ms. Min comes out to discuss with Daeyoung. From what she sees, Daeyoung's time for revenge is fast approaching smoothly. Daeyoung affirms Ms. Min's belief. She notices the success of the plan as well, realizing that if things keep going in her favor, Changeob will be feeling her arms around his neck soon. Changeob is at work about the time she makes this declaration, coincidentally feeling a sensation on his neck the exact moment she makes the declaration. He looks tired and overworked, but still, his mind is busy. He considers going home early so they could eat out, as a gift to his wife who looked worn out lately. His phone goes off suddenly, calling for his attention. When he looks at the screen to identify the caller, it turns out to be his mother, Baksoon. Immediately he takes the call. She tells him she has something to say to him. He is astonished when she tells him she intends to end the lease on the apartment she is currently staying at with Chang-hee. Seeing that this plan of hers would cause Chang-hee discomfort, he asks her where she intends Chang-hee to stay. It's no surprise that Baksun chooses her pleasures over the comfort of her kids. She tells Chang-hyeob that Chang-hee can go stay wherever she likes, as it is not her concern. Again she brings up Chang-hee's breakup and how she is in the condition she is in because she refused to think about the future, get married, and move out of the apartment. Chang-hyeob agrees with his mother that Chang-hee might have made a mistake, but still what she planned on doing does not sit well with him. To save Chang-hee, her suggests he find Baksun a small apartment for her to live in, instead of breaking the lease of their current apartment. Baksun is bent on getting what she wants. Remember, she called to tell him her plan, not to ask for his permission, so when he makes mention of a small apartment, she starts a ruckus that he has to put up with. According to her, at her age, he wants her to live in a closet. If he wasn't so bad to Daeung, we might actually feel bad for this guy and the family he ended up with. To calm his mother down and save himself from more stress than he is already facing, Chang-hyeob asks her if she has a place planned out that she wishes to stay and how much it would cost to get the place. She wants 700 million won, it's a lot, so much. Chang-hyeob sighs bitterly, a mistake on his part. She picks on the fact that he sighed and gives him a lecture about how she raised him with blood, sweat and tears, only for him to not wish to fulfill her requests. Chang-hyeob ends up agreeing to do as his mother wishes, promising to call her back when he gets back from work. When Chang-hyeob gets off the phone with his mother, and can't help but revisit his suspicion that she was being manipulated by a young gold digger, he then considers putting a tail on her to find out who the gold digger might be. The next scene has Baksun, just after getting off the phone with Chang-hyeob, and walks out to meet up with Man-hyuk, who had been patiently waiting for her. She apologizes to him for spending too much time on the phone, yet he tells her there is no need for her to apologize. They are currently checking out the apartment worth 700 million won, Baksun told Chang-hyeob about, and she loves the place. Baksun is so excited about the apartment that she shares her thoughts of how she envisions the house would turn out with Man-hyuk. He decides to play along with her, to push her into wanting to move into the apartment with him as quickly as possible and get the 700 million won for him, by teasing her. That being said, during her planning of how the apartment would turn out, he whispers in her ears concerning the location of the bedroom as the most important part of the plan because that is where the lovemaking takes place. She feels embarrassed by his words and bumps his chest in shyness while he laughs at how shy she is being. Man-hyuk, the ladies' man, does not stop there. He seals the deal by wrapping her in his arms and telling her he wants to live with her as soon as possible, the earlier the better. Those words make her heart race like a young girl. She breaks free of his grasp, promising to get the money as quickly as possible if he just exercises a little patience. Man-hyuk's act pays off. He has Baksun right where he wants her. He hugs her yet again, using another carefully selected line, by claiming he could wait as long as it takes if, in the end, he will be with her. It's late at night, about the time Daeung should be closing up the shop. The bell chimes because someone walked into the shop. She doesn't have a look at the one who has walked into the shop. Suspecting it's a customer, she apologizes and tells whoever it is that they are closed for the day. Then she does have a look, to discover it was Sungwon who came into the shop. She asks him what he is doing at the shop at such late an hour. He tells her he missed her. After all, he is obsessed with her. Daeung decides they should go on a date since Sungwon took the pains to come to see her at the shop. He welcomes the suggestion joyously, and a few minutes later Daeung is dressed up with Sungwon escorting her into his car. A few meters away is the private investigator Sekyung hired to tail Sungwon. He takes pictures of Sungwon and Daeung together, as the job entails. He smirks at the thought of how easy they made his job and tails Sungwon's car, from when they leave the flower shop until they get to the location for their date. During their drive to the hotel, unaware that they were being tailed, Daeung and Sungwon have a little chat. During their chat, she explains to him that she understands how he feels, but he caught her off guard with the way he showed up at the shop from out of the blue like that. He was sorry for showing up unannounced. Nevertheless, he missed her so much that he couldn't stay away any longer. He felt she was angry that he showed up unannounced. Sure she was, but she claims not to be. She tells him she meant what she said in a good way and chuckles because he misunderstood her little act. When they get to the hotel, the private investigator gets the opportunity to take more convincing photos of Daeyoung and Sungwon that he'd take to Seokyoung. The next day, the private investigator presented the pictures to Seokyoung. She definitely didn't expect it to be Daeyoung. Seokyoung trembles in rage while going through the pictures. Noticing how surprised she is, the investigator gets curious and asks Seokyoung if she knows the woman in the pictures. She doesn't answer his question, she only thanks him and leaves. She finds it hard to believe the one who snatched Sungwon from Chang-hee is the girl who Chang-hyeob used and dumped a few years ago. She quickly gives Chang-hee a call to tell her she has found the girl they've been looking for. She didn't give it any more thought, besides, it was no longer G's problem now. As soon as Chang-hee picks up, Seokyoung lets her know she has found the girl they are looking for. An astonished Chang-hee, on hearing this, schedules a meeting with Seokyoung at the same place they met last time. Before hanging up, Seokyoung advises Chang-hee not to be surprised when she sees the pictures. They meet up at their usual spot, where Chang-hee has finally set eyes on the pictures. She reacts the same way Seokyoung did when she saw the pictures, trembling in rage. Seokyoung's fear of being told on is gone, she addresses her boldly. She airs out her view that she knew Daeyoung lived in the area but didn't know she was this close to their lives. Chang-hee is furious, deaf to all around her and hungry for revenge, she leaves immediately and is definitely headed to the flower shop to confront Daeyoung. It's a sunny day, perfect weather for flowers, don't you think? Daeyoung is at the flower shop as usual. She has just finished with a customer and is tending to the plants when the shop's bell chimes almost immediately after the last customer left. She doesn't pay attention to the person who has walked in and welcomes whoever it is, assuming it is a customer. She should really pay attention when someone comes into the shop though. Maybe Chang-hee grabbing her hair would teach her to remember to watch the door. With her hand still gripping Daeyoung's hair, Chang-hee queries her on whether she derives joy from stealing other people's men or seducing other people's boyfriends. Daeyoung struggles with her and screams for Chang-hee to let her go, but she refuses to listen, ordering her to shut up while she goes on with her ranting. Chang-hee has tears in her eyes, screaming out a question to Daeyoung at the top of her voice. She yells out a rhetorical question on whether Daeyoung knows what she has been through because of her. She isn't done talking when Ms. Min intervenes. Her intervention saves Daeyoung from a terrible hair grab that'll definitely leave a headache. She keeps the ladies apart, giving Daeyoung enough time to recover and get back on her feet. Chang-hee huffs and puffs in rage, with Ms. Min as the only thing keeping her from pouncing on Daeyoung. Realizing Chang-hee must have come because she found out about her involvement with Sungwon, Daeyoung tells her she has no right to do what she did to her. Chang-hee was just furious at first, now Daeyoung's words made her furious and confused. Daeyoung takes her time to clear the air around Chang-hee's belief. She tells her Sungwon is the one who should be confronted, and her rage is taken out on him because he is following her around like a lovesick puppy. Chang-hee also decides to play the blame game. She brings back the event with her liver being Chang-hyeob's fault, not hers. Chang-hee requests that Daeyoung blame Chang-hyeob and asks what she did to end up getting wound up in her feud with him. Chang-hee's question prompts Daeyoung to release a very sick smile. Instead of giving Chang-hee an answer, she throws a question of her own at her. A simple question, she requests from Chang-hee, a reason why she should answer her question. Daeyoung's change in mood scares Chang-hee until he no longer huffs and puffs in rage but trembles in fear, not needing Ms. Min to hold her down any longer. Daeyoung's change in mood prompts Chang-hee to ask her if she is aware that she is unbelievable. Once more Daeyoung refuses to give an answer to Chang-hee's question, simply stating that if she doesn't leave the shop she'd be reported for causing a disturbance. On that note, Chang-hee, now furious again, has to leave the shop, more furious than she came. She slams the shop's door behind her, aggressively on her way out, and Ms. Min rushes to Daeyoung to check on her. Daeyoung assures her she is fine. She calmly states that Ms. Min finding out about her and Sungwon doesn't change anything. Deep down, Daeyoung recalls Chang-hee saying something about her taking out the revenge meant for Changeob on her, when her revenge has not even started. The sun sets at Changeob's apartment building. Sekyung is home, still troubled about their most recent discovery that Sungwon is in an affair with Daeyoung. Sekyung's mind begins to connect some lines she hadn't considered before, the flower shop and the flowers Young-soo kept getting for her. She cannot help but feel like she is missing something here. Daeyoung's move on Sungwon makes it impossible for Sekyung to shake off the feeling that Daeyoung might have roped Young-soo into whatever game she is playing. Then again, she feels like she might be over-worrying about things. However, Young-soo's behavior of avoiding her recently comes to her mind. She suspects Daeyoung is the reason why he has refused to see her. This realization shocks her to the point that she does not even notice when Changeob gets back from work. Changeob has to touch her shoulder before she regains consciousness of her environment. When she reacts in a surprised way, Changeob asks why she is surprised. It is then she realizes he has gotten back from work. He asks her what she was thinking about, which made her not notice his arrival. Luckily for her, he doesn't pay attention to her behavior. It's like he completely forgets what he asked her when she mentions he came home early from work. He informs her that he wrapped up work faster than she expected he would, after which he asks how she feels about them going out for dinner. Turns out he picked the come home early and take the family out option. Sekyung welcomes the idea, besides it'll ease her of some burden. Changeob asks Jane for her opinion on eating out and she agrees, as expected, but it seems like Sekyung has returned to her deep thinking. Concerning Young-soo, she'd had to ask him some questions to ease her of her worries. At Baksun's place, Chang-hee keeps trying Sungwon's line, but it keeps going to voicemail. Tears gush from her eyes as she sits in the dark, weeping and unwilling to stop trying Sungwon's line. She wishes he would just hear her out, but they are way past that now. Chang-hee is so depressed that she doesn't even notice when her mother gets back home. Baksun is uncomfortable with the darkness and flips the light switch, only to find Chang-hee seated on the floor weeping. She asks Chang-hee what she is doing in the dark, but she doesn't even hear her question. Chang-hee starts blurting stuff that Baksun can't make sense of, but still Chang-hee keeps going, informing her that some woman seduced someone. Baksun gets pissed at Chang-hee for not clarifying things. When Chang-hee finally pulls herself together, she tells her mother that the girl who donated her liver, the same girl Changeob married and dumped, is behind Chang-hee breaking up with her. Baksun can't believe her ears, maybe it's because she wrote her off as weak. With the cat out of the bag, Chang-hee goes back to brooding, wondering why she was the unfortunate one who had to pay for their sins when she believes she did nothing to Daeyoung. Baksun disbelieves the information, questioning its source, till Chang-hee tells her she found out about this through a private investigator. She portrays the pictures before her mother as proof of her claim, and when Baksun looks into the pictures she is furious and calls Daeyoung a wench. To Baksun this is shameful coming from a woman who had a husband and child. She brings her knowledge of Daeyoung's supposed family to her daughter, Chang-hee. Chang-hee has a new goal in mind, find Daeyoung's husband, and expose her doings to him. She refuses to let her get away with what she has done. It's already late into the night by the time Daeyoung is done at the flower shop and ready to go home. She gets an unexpected visit that night, a visit from the man everyone wants to see, Daehoon aka Mr. Dino Lollipop. To make it look like he hadn't been standing there the whole time, waiting for her, Daehoon asks Daeyoung if she just got done with work. She sees what he is trying to do and laughs it off because she is aware he knows when she closes the shop. His cover is blown, but that's okay, he came around to give her a ride to Ms. Min's to pick Hanbin up. How does he know Hanbin is at Ms. Min's? We can only guess. Anyways, Daeyoung thanks him for his offer, signifying her acceptance of his generous offer, and the pair head off to Ms. Min's place. During the ride there, Daeyoung thanks Daehoon again for his act of kindness and tells him Hanbin would be so happy to see him. She is all smiles, yet Daehoon gives off no facial expressions, which is unlike him. He looks like he is about to start up a serious conversation. News about what happened between Chang-hee and Daeyoung got to Daehoon via Ms. Min, so he brings it up. He reveals to her that he came to pick her up today out of his worry for her. To Daeyoung, what happened today is just one of the risks she considered before embarking on her path to revenge. That being said, he realizes that she still feels pain. If it wasn't clear at first, the tears in her eyes make it clear. Daehoon makes Daeyoung feel better by his words alone. She feels so much better that she thanks him till she begins to cry and still thanks him for being so concerned about her. At Ms. Min's place, after a knock on the door, Hanbin hurries to the door, expecting to see his mommy, only to be met with a much larger surprise, Medina Lollipop with his mom. We'd expect Hanbin would run to his mom first, yet that's not the case here. He runs to Daehoon instead. Hanbin's move makes Daeyoung playfully ask who he loves more, her or Mr. Dino Lollipop, and he chooses her. While Hanbin plays with Daehoon, Ms. Min instructs Daeyoung to hurry home with Hanbin, because he is ready for bed and needs to be tucked in quickly. Daeyoung thanks her for looking after Hanbin, then calls him, so they can go home in Daehoon's car. Young Hanbin is happy to hear they will be going home in Mr. Dino Lollipop's car. So happy that he innocently, to the hearing of all the adults, asks if Daehoon will be sleeping at their house again. Hanbin's question causes a stir of emotions. Daeyoung's face glows red from embarrassment. She can't believe he just asked her that aloud. Ms. Min's cheeks are red as well. She must be thinking Daehoon and Daeyoung have reached a level she is unaware of. Daeyoung quickly addresses Ms. Min, to convince her that it's not how she thinks it is, pleading that she does not get the wrong idea. It's too late though. The look on her face says she already has the wrong idea. Does Hanbin stop there? No, he doesn't. Still clinging to Daehoon's leg, he innocently shares his wish to spend the night with Mr. Dino Lollipop at their place. Daeyoung is surprised by his behavior today. He's determined to make sure Daehoon spends the night with them. Daehoon finally speaks up. He encourages Hanbin, stirring up more emotions and making Daeyoung's face more red out of embarrassment. Ms. Min is loving the drama though. For Hanbin's sake, Daehoon invites them to come stay at his place. Daeyoung cannot believe what he is asking. Still, she tries to reject his offer, but Daehoon isn't asking. He is already drafting a plan for them. First, he intends they head over to Daeyoung's place, get her in Hanbin's pajamas and a change of clothes, then move to his place where they would be spending the night. He pleads with her to simply go along with the plan. Nevertheless, she objects, while Hanbin welcomes the idea, but Daehoon doesn't hear her, as Hanbin's voice overshadows hers. Looks like Team Hanbin and Daehoon have won this battle and Daeyoung just had to tag along, as her say is no longer valid. She is still frozen out of shock when Hanbin and Daehoon discuss getting Hanbin a Dino Lollipop before he goes to bed. Hanbin is glad that he is going to get the lollipop, however, on the condition that he'd brush his teeth afterwards. Daeyoung is baffled by what is going on before her. This is a hassle for her. Ms. Min notices that Daeyoung is the only one who isn't happy about them spending the night at Daehoon's place. Ms. Min ends up on Team Daehoon, to Daeyoung's greatest shock. She advises Daeyoung to do as Daehoon has said because it makes Hanbin very excited. When Daehoon tells her it's best they start moving, seeing how adorable he and Hanbin look together, plus everyone else being in support of the idea, Daeyoung gives in. Daehoon bids Ms. Min a good night and promises to come visit her at the shop soon. Ms. Min states that she looks forward to his visit and Hanbin wishes her a good night. Finally, they are about to head out, but Daeyoung is still thinking about this decision, leading him to take her hand and they head off, leaving Ms. Min who waves them goodbye. Daeyoung and Daehoon go along with the intended plan, stopping at her place for pajamas and a change of clothes, and in no time they are at Daehoon's home. Bedtime for Hanbin approaches quickly, so they go to Daehoon's room, with Hanbin leading the way. When he gets to the room, he marvels at the size of the bed and jumps on it, using it as a trampoline. Daeyoung asks him to stop jumping on the bed. The owner of the bed, however, tells Daeyoung to let Hanbin play with the bed like the little kid he is. Daeyoung points out that Daehoon is being too soft on Hanbin, but his excuse is Hanbin's cuteness. Hanbin is done jumping on the bed and calls out to Daeung and Daehoon, while patting the bed, desiring that they both hurry, reminding them it's time for bed. She can't help but wonder if staying in the same bed with Daehoon is the right thing to do. Daehoon reads her mind and proposes a solution. He would move to the sofa once Hanbin falls asleep. Daeung tells him that there is no need for him to move to the sofa because she is just worried that she does not deserve to be this happy. This is all exactly how she dreamed it out, so she feels she does not deserve this long-time dream of hers. Daehoon understands where she is coming from, so he holds her hand and urges her to think of today as one good dream. While they converse, Hanbin gets more sleepy, so they have to rush and join him in bed. Exactly what he wants. The following day, at the Sport and Cultural Center, Young-soo goes about with his swimming instructor job when Sekyung visits the center after a long time. She asks him for a second and they go to their spot to have a little chat. It's obvious Young-soo doesn't want her at the center when he tells her she did not have to come all the way to the center. She claims she only came because she has something important to ask him. She points her phone screen at his face and asks him if he knows the woman whose image pops up on her phone screen. When he takes a look, he can tell something is up, so he acts ignorant, claiming he does not know her. It takes a while, but in the end, Sekyung believes that he truly does not know Daeung. Chapter 56. She holds him to his word, believing he does not know Daeung, but just to be sure, she asks him where he gets the flowers he used to give her. Young-soo plays ignorant, again, claiming he does not remember every little thing as he bought the flowers from whatever random store he was passing by. He seals the deal of his acclaimed ignorance by asking Sekyung if there was a reason behind her asking him all these questions, but she claims it's fine if he knows nothing. Well, their conversation has come to an end, so Young-soo turns to leave. As if Sekyung would let him walk away like that after coming to see him. She stops him from leaving and asks that they indulge in an intimate moment. She is about to reach into his shorts, but to her surprise, he refuses, swatting her hand off his body. He tells her there is a girl he wants to get serious about. She can't believe what he is saying. He comes out plain about his desire to end their relationship and Sekyung does not want to let go of him. Besides, according to him, they could no longer see often. Before he leaves, he advises her to focus on her husband and that is how Sekyung and Young-soo came to an end. He leaves her in a dark room on her own, trembling due to the realization that she has just lost her secret lover. Daeung's revenge on Sekyung has just begun. Chang-hee pays a visit to the private investigator. Seems like he has never come across this much drama during his time as a private investigator. To make sure he is getting Chang-hee properly and repeats her request for him to find out the husband of the woman he just found out was in an affair with their last target. Yep, that's exactly what Chang-hee wants and as quickly as possible. The man assures her that since he knows where she works, it would be easy for him to find out where she lives. He promises to give her a call as soon as possible, even tomorrow if he's lucky, just what Chang-hee wants to hear because she would be waiting. The private investigator has had it with their drama. When his coworker asks him why he seems frustrated, he fills him in on what he has been working on for some time. He tells his coworker that he took pictures of the woman in the photo with another man at a hotel during his last job, and now they want him to find out who her husband is. The fact that she might be having an affair puzzles him, still that is the line of work he chose, so he has to deal with it. The private investigator rushes to the flower shop as soon as possible to stake it out, and it's quiet for most of the time, just Daeung doing some work at the shop until later at night. When she gets off work, she gets a signature visit from Young-soo. From his conversation with Daeung, it's clear she discussed with Daeung about them meeting up and he came right on time. Young-soo doesn't stay too long before the private investigator spots him from his car. Glad a man has turned up, he takes photos for his client Chang-hee. They leave in Young-soo's car, not too long after his arrival, so she'd go to his place to help him water his plant, their new secret code for an intimate moment. The private investigator looms in the dark, enjoying the drama that is cooking before him. When he sees they are on the move, he tails them to get more evidence, unknown to them. The private investigator is happy to submit the pictures he had taken of Daeyoung from yesterday to Chang Hee. He believes Young-soo, the man in the photos, is Daeyoung's husband, but when Chang Hee has a look, she is in disbelief. What is going on? How could the man who Seokyoung was in an affair with be with Daeyoung? What's next for Daeyoung now that her plans are coming to the light? Find out in the next part of this story. Comment Daeyoung below if you want to see it. Also don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, ciao.